show with our new title. Should figure out how to do it. Correctly. Come on, Amy, bounce back, baby. Bounce that support line. Overstock, crushing it. Here we go, here we go. Just getting everything set up. Give me a few minutes here. Give me a few minutes here. How's everybody doing? I'm doing good because I bought the dip. Bought the dip on this bogus Russia news. Russia has been
How's everybody
harassing
doing?
Ukraine and other countries for
I'm
like
doing good because I
40
bought the
years.
dip.
Trying to tell me that's why the market dipped. The market
Bought the dip on this bogus Russia news.
because these
Russia's been
clowns
harassing Ukraine and other countries for like
needed to cover
40
their shorts.
years. Trying to tell me that's why the market dipped. The market's dipping because these clowns needed to cover their shorts.
Agreed. Over leveraged clowns. How's it going, Spence?
Good.
Good.
I'm good. Because I took back, I don't even know how much I took back today because I bought the dip. And I'm really happy. What did AMC? AMC took back what? 10%? Overstock went up 6% from the red. Voyager came back almost 15%. They opened it up with a bunch of horse shit today, man.
Yeah, today started off not so good, huh? But it looks like things are starting to reverse. So I think that's a good sign. I do.
Yep.
I mean, if you bought in the dip, congratulations. If not, that's okay too. So yeah, I think we're reversing the upside, and yeah, that's what it looks like to me. You know.
Yeah.
Then again, I'm not a TA person, so.
Well, here's the deal. You know, how many people did I have this morning messaging me saying, "Man, oh no, I'm losing my portfolio."
Yeah.
If you sell at times like this is the game. This is what Keenan Grace always talks about.
You know, I've been holding all the way through, so it's very frightening. It sure is, you know. But you know, it's days like today. I just, you know, I sort of like, well, it's kind of hard to stay away from the charts. Don't get me wrong, you know, but I try to as much as possible, and I try to distract myself with other things, other projects I'm working on, you know, and sometimes it helps, and that's what I try to do. Just my little tip, you know, on down days, you know, if you're not buying the dip, if you're not doing anything else, the worst thing you can do is just like stare at the chart all day long. It's okay to look at it, you know, but you know, just it's probably better just to, you know, find something else to do. Get outside if it's nice out, take a walk, or, you know, find some hobbies indoors. Uh-oh. Okay, Anya, we'll clean that up. Sorry. Anya and I are actually, you know what we're eating right now? Impossible nuggets. That's what we're eating. And I'm not gonna, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. With
they're
barbecue
not bad.
sauce. With Sweet Baby Ray's.
There you go.
Of course. But yeah, that's what we're doing right now. Nope, Anya. And she just got some barbecue sauce all over on her dress, so I gotta quickly clean her up.
Okay. Well, SI is over 20%. They censored Terrible today. They locked her account out again, which is horseshit. I cannot wait to go to Truth Social as soon as it's up. I'm gonna be doing the same thing on Truth Social. I am done with the censorship on these other platforms. And this market crash, you guys. This was they come out. Oh, Russia tensions are causing this market crash. The Russia crap's been going on for 80 fucking years. This is them knowing that they're going to get margin called. They got the phone calls from their buddies, and their buddies said, "Hey, you're getting margin called. Dump the stock as much as you can." That's what they did today, and everybody bought the living shit out of it. AMC was so oversold it wasn't even funny. I didn't even know it was possible. Regardless, it's open forum right now, so if you guys want to come up and chat, just pop up in, request to speak.
Yeah, come on in, we'll bring you up.
Yep, we're chilling. We started calling out buying the dip. Man, where's my dates?
Guys, hey, be sure to tweet out the call and follow your host and co-host.
Yeah, apologies for the early call, but man, I was just pumped up. I'm just sitting here watching it. I was talking to Mark, I was talking to Tara, watching Overstock rip, watching AMC rip back up. And I personally think we're going for another run. I think it's just cooling down. So
I think so excited. Too.
Other than that, I didn't see any real news. I didn't see a thing in the newspaper besides them crying about the Dow being down 1,000 points. Which I haven't even checked the indexes yet to see how they're doing. Dow took about 200 points back. It's the IWM. IWM went green on the day. That's, wow. That's surprising. What do you know? Russell 2000 green on the day, even after all that.
Hi.
Hello.
Dinosaur.
She's watching Ryan's World. We're streaming it right now.
Oh.
It's one of her favorite shows. That and the Diana show.
Can I have some of your
Diana
chicken
Roma,
nuggies? I'm hungry.
Those things are good, man. I'm not gonna lie. And
They're not bad. Those KFC ones look like deep fried erasers, though.
Yeah, I haven't tried those. But it's not a bad brand. I mean, we also tried. It was a couple nights ago. I made spaghetti and meatballs, but it was Impossible meatballs. They were actually pretty good. Very shocking. So definitely buy those again.
Yeah, they're not bad. I mean, I dig them. It was cool. It was fun to eat, but I gotta eat like real meat, man.
Okay.
I just felt like my
You're definitely a
soul.
meat guy, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up hunting in the woods and stuff, and kind of raised on Uncle Ted. So meat, real meat, it's a spiritual thing.
Right. I can go without meat, honestly, for a while.
Yeah.
But that's me. I've also, had I used to be a vegetarian, borderline vegan. So, and then when I went to culinary school and having, I would just go into culinary school, and the first thing in the morning when you walked in, it was the smell of bacon, and yeah, I couldn't stay vegetarian for long in culinary school, that's for sure.
Yep.
Just the smell of bacon will just do you in, I don't care how bad it is. Bacon is yummy. So don't talk bad about bacon.
Sugar, you better get up here and talk, man.
Yeah,
You
I see
can't
you,
just sit.
sugar.
You
Get your
can't
butt
sit
up.
down there and just creep. Tally too. Everybody. Well, I wonder if everybody's at work still. I did an early call because I was pretty pumped on this recovery, on this
No,
dipped
it's
by
cool.
recovery.
Yeah, it's fine that you started early. That's fine with me. I mean, Anya's still up. She's gonna take a nap here soon, but
Hey guys, how are you today?
What's up,
How
buddy?
are you guys?
Hey, Shug.
How are you, Jen? How's everybody doing? How's the family doing?
Good. We're doing good. How's your family doing?
Everybody's okay. Doing the daddy duties, dad taking care of kids during the day and trying to work in the night, you know. You know how that goes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, yep. Everything is good. I guess we are still here. We are all breathing. We're all alive. We got roof over our head, food to eat. Our families are healthy and everything else. It's just a noise. It's just another day. And it's just
Right.
That's
and
right.
and we all know, like, we all know this was gonna happen, and it's happening right in front of our eyes. I mean, it's not like, like we are surprised that they took it to this down. But I think this is their last ditch effort, man. They're gonna do whatever they can.
Yep.
This is all. It's like they are like organized mafia, like the media, hedge funds, politicians. They all work together hand in hand. So everything happens. Everything. This is all planned. And
Absolutely.
but I think it's by now. I think we all believe that we are the ones, people, those who are here. I was not here in last January, but you guys were the ones, those who saved both the companies back in January. There was no there was you can't say that anybody was there. It was the you hardworking people. Otherwise this stock would have been $2 even today. So I think it's fair to say that even after 1 year, you guys we all need to believe in ourselves and the community. People, those who are still here with you guys. I mean, lot of people are down, lot of money. So but we are still here. We didn't give up on each other. And that's one thing, because in good times, anybody can be your friend and be a part of you. When the time gets tough, that's when you find who the real people you can trust, or who are your real people, those who stand next to you. So I think it's fair to say, like, everybody, whether it's one, somebody has 100 shares, 10 shares, or 10,000 shares, I think the credit goes to everyone, whosoever is still here, and believe in each other. Believe in your fellow. We call each other apes. Now is the time to really believe that, yes, we all are apes. We are not sheeps. We will not run away just because the times get tough. No, we will not.
That's
I will.
right.
I know I will not. I know a lot of you guys will not. So, I believe in you. I mean, we all came to make money, but the biggest thing this movement gave us, it gave us a family. I know people say, that the stock market doesn't care about your emotions. I know stock market doesn't care, but I know people, they care. That's what I got out of this whole movement, was that people that I have never met in my life,
The
people from
times get
different
tough. No.
countries, people those who have a different accent, like me. It doesn't matter. This movement brought us all together. It gave us a family that even sitting thousands of miles away, we still care about each other. We want everybody to succeed. So this is the one thing, those greedy people, they will never have that. And it's sad, because for them, they probably will never have it. And we are, we should be all proud of that. Whoever is here today, or whoever, even if you don't own a share or nothing, if you still believe, still say something good about it, about AMC, GameStop. I mean, I'm really grateful to all of you, and I'm proud to be a part of you, and proud to know all of you. And just remember, I am here till the last, and the last won't be downwards, it's gonna go upwards. That's what I believe
Hmm.
in.
Absolutely, brother. Appreciate that too. You're always got the right words for the right time, man.
I mean, I spent, when I came in United States, I didn't had even $1 single, but I I worked hard in this country. I mean, I did whatever it took, and I was able to invest. I mean, I had to start from zero few times in my life, but I never gave up, because you know m- money you can make. And one thing I want to say more, like, please don't think of harming yourself, or because you are in a loss and all that. Please don't even think about this. Money is not more important than your life. There are people, those who love and care about you and everything. So please don't let even that kind of thought come in your mind, because I saw some YouTubers posting, like, our DMs are open and all that. And if you want to talk to, I'm always here. I can always talk and everything. But as for somebody who never had anything like me, never had anything, and I didn't give up, because I know there is always light at the end of the tunnel. There is always hope. As long as we have faith, in each other, have hope, we will get out of this. And it's their last ditch effort. So just please be positive, stay positive, believe in each other, and keep your head up. This is we all knew that this is gonna be a war. It's not like, it's not for everyone. But if you are here, I have nothing but love and respect for all of you guys. So thank you so much, and love to all of you, and stay strong. It's just their last ditch effort. They're gonna destroy. The unfortunate thing is, they're gonna destroy the entire economy. And the media and politicians, they're gonna let them do it. That's the only sad part. We will all be successful, I know that much. But in the meantime,
Oh yeah.
they're just gonna destroy this beautiful country's economy, just because they let them do it. But there is a point.
It's because greed.
We need to
Got that right.
start thinking about all these politicians. It doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. Your country is more bigger than any political party. And we need to there is a time when we need to start thinking, putting our country above any political parties. And like, if they are, and it might be a small effort, but look, like,
And
unusual whales, he came out with the names, and you see how much stuff that started. Like the politicians are coming openly and saying, like, if we can't make money, why would we even go there? You go there for service. You make 150,000 to $200,000. If you can't
And
help and service people, then just get out of office.
Unusuals is doing more than I've seen anybody do. And I'll tell you, today I read an article that said 27 seated U.S. politicians have signed a letter supporting the bill to ban seated elected officials from trading stocks in Congress. So it's making waves, guys. This is something that everybody should really be supporting if you want to fix market corruption. Because if you take the power away from the corrupt Congress people to trade stocks on inside information, it's going to correct a lot of things in the market. So keep an eye out for that.
Yep, and together we are all strong, man. Every little bit I bought some Friday. I'm getting paid again this Friday. I'll buy whatever I can. Do whatever you can, and even if you can't do it, just by being you here, by holding on, and supporting each other, that's more than anything else, man. And then one day, and I can see that one day we will all, when we get successful, I can see we all finally getting to meet each other, and we
Oh
will
yeah,
laugh one day. I think we will laugh at when we see look behind, maybe few months from now, 6 months, 4 months from now, when we will laugh like how much they tried to bring it down and everything, thinking we will give up. There will be that day
absolutely,
too.
dude.
That day will come too. I wholeheartedly believe in that.
I think if when this pops off, man, I, I think we just need to do the Vegas thing. We need to get a building. We need to get a convention set up and just have a little ape party and everybody meet each other and just celebrate for the victory. Because this has been a battle, man. This has been a mentally excruciating battle to the point to where during the day when I'm doing my chart stuff, I was playing Pokemon today. I was leveling up my Pokemon because I just didn't care to look. And by the time I was done, we started this absolutely beautiful recovery. So it's very important to keep healthy mind.
So I got a little story to share with you guys if you give me a few minutes.
Go for it.
So I used to work at a convenience store, in Racine, Wisconsin. My brother used to own a gas station and a convenience store, and I worked there for almost 9 years. So I used to live in the neighborhood too. So I knew pretty much everybody in the neighborhood, because people would come for all, for the stuff. So you get to know people, especially you live in the neighborhood. So there was this mother, she was a single mother, and she had two young kids. I think they were like 9 or 10 years old, and they really had a very rough life. Like it's sad that like here also I have to see that people struggling. But so she used to work and take care of the kids at that same time too. But she was not making a lot of money. So I have seen those kids and that mother. But every time I would see that lady, she would always have a smile on her face, and I would like you get inspired from people like that. Like all the hardships, and every time I ask her, I'm like, how can you be so positive? Because I was always like that, and she's like that because I don't know how to live any other way. She's like, if I start being negative, she's like, what else do I have in my life? That's the only way I've lived my life, whether I had something, whether I didn't had anything. So over the period of time, those kids, I mean, they grew up, like 16, 17 years old. And once when they both started working, both the kids, I think they were twins. They both started working hard, like saving some money and everything. And her mom used to go take a bus, like to work. Like they didn't even had a bus. Her car broke down, so she used to take bus. And the winters in Wisconsin is really brutal. So they have seen those. And there was one day when both of them saved enough money, and they bought their mom a car. It was on her birthday. And I became a family like those kids, and so I grew up, and I was always encourage them, and you listen to them and talk to them. And they parked the car right behind my gas station. And they came this like we I knew that it was her birthday too, and they told me like we got a surprise for her, 19 year old, both the kids. And they saved all their money and everything. And when her mom came, and in the gas station, and started talking, and they gave her the key. And she's like, whose car key is that? He's like, yours, mom. And she for a few minutes she didn't know like whether they were joking. She's like, well, we don't have a car. And the kids, they both had tears in their eyes, and they're like, mom, now we have it. Now we have a car.
It's
So
amazing, man.
it's things like that, and that moment, I have seen like, that pride in that lady's, like all her life she struggled, but she was able to raise, fine young men, and they didn't give up a hope. So there are a lot of people, these stories, that's the reason why I'm always positive, because I've seen people gone through everything, but they still didn't give up hope. And eventually they, we and that was one of the very, I have a lot of stories, because when you work at convenience store in your neighborhood, live in there, you see it all. You live their life too. So that was one of the
Absolutely.
very, very, very proud moments for me, that there are people who go through a lot of hard times, but they don't give up because they don't know how to give up, because giving up is not an option.
Giving up will get you absolutely nowhere.
Yep.
It'll
So
put you in a worse situation than you're already in.
yep, so we are all blessed, families are healthy, pray to God, everybody's family, kids, everything, everybody's healthy. Everything else, it's just another day. Tomorrow will be another day, then it'll be another day, and eventually, yes, we will succeed. And I think deep inside our hearts we all know that. But it's just sometimes, when you have like few weeks or few months of, things going the wrong direction, we all start to doubt ourselves and everything, but I think deep inside we all know what we hold and why we hold.
We are getting closer every single day.
Yep.
We are getting closer to Q4.
Yep.
And I'm telling you, Q4 is going to blow away expectations like no other. I think that's why Adam Aaron's being silent right now. I think the market's tanked. I think everything we've been talking about for the past 2 weeks is affecting the entire play. But they know that we crushed it on Q4. And when movies like Scream come out and pull in $36 million on a weekend, movies are back. Even NPR was talking about the movies are coming back, where they said that action movies and thrillers are headlining at the cinemas again. People want an escape from this shit reality we've been living for the past year, and the movies is where you go to get it. Because as soon as you turn the TV on, even if it's a streaming service, you're going to get some kind of crap noise. So people want to go to the movies. They want to stand in line. They want to relax and get some climax before they some suspense before they go to a climax and watching some kind of entertainment. It's back. And I guarantee you Q1 this year is the theaters are going to absolutely smash this year. Top Gun, Lightyear, you got Multiverse of Madness. There's so many good movies coming out. And then hopefully in Q4, I'm really hoping that Adam Aaron announces retail popcorn sales. I'm hoping they're going to push that out very soon. I think this year, you held last year when the stock was overvalued on a fundamental basis and they didn't have any new revenue streams. So why would you sell when it's undervalued and they have new revenue streams? That's where I'm sitting right now. I'm waiting for
Exactly.
this. I'm
Yep.
waiting for this hot year, man. I'm pumped.
Yep.
You got popcorn coming out. we still don't know what kind of content's going to be dropped in the NFTs. It's going to be big, I'm telling you.
And one thing, any like last 3 4 months, whatever happened, and people try to create it negativity and everything. Don't even waste your time and energy. Anybody that's not good for the movement, trying to bring like falsehoods and all that. Like, don't even waste your time, don't even listen to them, because you're wasting your time and energy on just when you can do a lot better with that than just to give fuel to those people, those who are just. And there will always be good and bad people, but the majority of the people in our movement, they're good people, because they all want
Yep.
each other to succeed, so there will always be some bad apples, you all the five fingers of a hand are not the same, so.
Yeah. They said, somebody messaged me today and said, oh, they were talking about you and Terrible on another space call last night and started rumors. And so I don't care, because it's not true. I literally don't care. I have those people blocked for a reason. They're toxic, and I don't want them anywhere near me or around me, or I don't want anything to do with them. I got too many other important things to do than worry about some dude on Twitter from some location I don't even know. So
Exactly. If some person on Twitter wants to waste their time, make up lies, and have a space call about it, I mean, okay, do your thing. But I mean, honestly, like, what a waste of time. I mean, what kind of loser does that? But you've got to ask yourself.
But that
So
that that's the
it's really
thing, a lot
shameful.
of.
It's too bad.
Yeah,
And
you
those are
never.
the kind of people, and they're not here for the movement. They're not
But
here for the community, and they're not here for the movement. So just keep that in mind. Block
and
them.
that's the thing, like a lot of people, the other side have so much money, they you don't know who they bought out and whatnot, because when it comes to money, not everybody has a character, like a lot of people just think for themselves. So we don't know. But I'm saying, like, there are few people, those who probably would have been bought out by the other side, but majority of our people, they are good. But if anybody like tries to bring or create a divisiveness and everything, I think by now we should understand, that it won't do no good to anybody. So just don't even waste our
Exactly.
time and energy, just block them, like Mark says. Block them and move on.
Right. They're just a waste of time. You're just
Yeah.
wasting energy. It's not worth it. I've got better things to do. Spence has better things to do. PJ has better things to do. Paul has better things to do. Same with you, Shug, and for everybody else here listening in this room. So don't waste your time.
it's
Just
like
ignore
Mark
it,
said,
block,
it's
move on.
boring anyways. Mark, he was like, I'd rather organize my sock drawer, and literally I'd rather like sweep my floors and mop my kitchen than listen to some of these people speak on what we're doing. I got a bunch of short sellers that are always now I've relocated them to YouTube so we don't have to listen to their garbage. But there's the people out there like Ken Griffin and Citadel and Jim Cramer and all these clowns, Rich Greenfield, telling you that the stock's worth a penny or don't buy it or buy Netflix. I'm worried about them. I'm not worried about some dude with a complex that's trying to attack Tara or me. And like, even just getting this YouTube and streaming stuff up, it's time consuming, but it's worth it, because I know there's a ton of good people that come to these calls that deserve to be able to access the content how they want. And it brings me to my next point on content access. When Truth Social comes up, I am absolutely moving to Truth Social. I'm not telling you to follow me. I think a couple other people are too, because the censorship and problems we've had on Twitter is just getting too much to deal with. Like, they've locked Tara out of her account again, and she's worried she's not going to get it back this time. So, that's her 90,000 person following that she's got to work to get back now. It's just not conducive. I'm gonna take a shot on True Social, see how the platform is, but I'll still be streaming and YouTubing. And if Truth doesn't have some type of Spaces call platform, which I think they will, we'll set something up. I'll keep my Twitter account open, but I'll be more active on a different platform, probably next month sometime if it launches. So. And I am excited to see what happens tomorrow, because I'm wondering what the short interest is because we were hitting 20.8 something percent this morning. We had this recovery, and now they're just back at the same old thing, doing the short sale, little short run again. So I really feel like we got them. I feel like this is it. I feel it's coming. I think Q4 is going to blast off. You got Apple and all these companies, or not, yeah, Apple, I think, Microsoft coming out with earnings this week. If they report good earnings, you're going to see a little bit of a market recovery. I wonder if the IWM is dipping again. Let's see. Yep, IWM kind of come back down. So AMC is just retracing with IWM. But other than that, man, I hope some people snag some shares up today. Today I never thought I'd see this price action. I never thought I'd see an opportunity to get in below $20 again. So I'm pretty pumped. I loaded up today. Probably more than I should have, but Paul, what's going on, buddy? See you down there.
Oh, hey, how's it going, guys? Sorry, I'm just busy working around the house at the moment, just listening.
Cool beans.
Things are good. Yeah, things are good. I made a call. Today was going to be the margin call at 2 p.m. for all these guys, but it's 2:30 and I don't see anything happening. So margin call tomorrow, 2 o'clock p.m.
Well, we're kicking back a little now. I think the whole market just needed to cool off on this recovery. I'm hoping we go for a nice little run. And I'm hoping in the morning we see some positive action.
Yeah, I just went out and snowblowed for the last hour or two because you know what, it is what it is, right? And you can only watch the market go down so much. You can only watch the AMC and whatever else you're following going up and down and bouncing around. It's like, okay, I've been here before and I've got stuff I got to do. So,
that's what
but
you guys got
anyways,
me for. I'll alert you if anything cool happens.
oh, absolutely, man, absolutely. Okay, I got to go back to what I'm doing, but I'll come back on.
Right on, man. I completely had the wrong time. I thought it was later in the day. I thought it was closer to closing. But said it's open forum if you guys want to come up and talk. If it's perfect time now, if this is your first time on a space call ever thinking about talking, jump up and give it a shot.
So.
Hi, guys.
What up, BJ?
What's going on, y'all?
Hello.
Hi. So I have decided that because all the short sellers and the shills get on my nerves to Kingdom Come, I'm going to ignore them all and try not to scroll much on Twitter. I'm just going to tweet out, say hi to everybody, come on a space call, but not scroll a lot because they really did get on my nerves last night and today. And I don't want it to affect me. I don't know why. I mean, typically I laugh, but I guess when it comes with, some silly price action, it really gets on my nerves. So I'm just going to completely ignore them and go about my day like Paul, although I won't be blowing snow, thank goodness. But, it was nice to focus on other trades today and, do my thing. And I think it's a good idea to just maybe regroup in a space call and not look at all the baloney that's going on because I cannot get over how much there is from YouTube to Facebook to Twitter. It's mind blowing.
My YouTube and my Twitter feeds today specifically were garbage. They're forcing people that talk about completely different stocks. I'm talking like shit I've never even heard of. My feed was loaded with it today. I mean, just these new accounts that are pushing these random stocks that I don't even have in my watch list. And then YouTube, if you type in AMC now, you're getting mainstream media news and you're just getting old videos and just weird shit. So they're definitely changing up the algos on us to push different information into the feeds. My Twitter feed was garbage today.
I agree. And, I don't think I want to expose myself. I know where the trade is going. Yep. I know who I can call and kind of bitch to when I get angry. But, in the end, I know what's going to happen. Whether it happens a month from now or a year from now, I know that at some point they have to cover. And if they go nice and slow, then we go nice and slow. If they go fast, which I kind of doubt, then, we'll have a very nice quick squeeze. But
I'll take my tax break.
yeah, at some point, we're going to see it. And to me, that's all that matters at this stage of the game.
Especially with a third earnings report coming in with breaking expectations, new revenue streams. I mean, when you see the theaters, this is what's happening is consumers are changing their preferences back to theaters, to going out. The market's going to shift back into entertainment and going out again. People are tired of sitting in their freaking houses, man. And especially, you guys got to remember, too, it's wintertime right now. Less people go out in the wintertime than they do coming up in the spring and summer months. People this spring and summer are going to be out of the house, spending their money at the movies, spending their money at the restaurants. So I'm pretty pumped for Q4.
Hey guys, gals.
What's up?
Oh, nothing. Yeah, I chimed in last week and I said that.
Whoa, what's going on?
I think that was me. Can you hear me? No.
Yeah. Go ahead, Adrian.
Sorry.
Hello?
Sorry, it's a muting going on there.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, bud.
Hey guys, how you doing? Thanks for the chance to talk. No, I just wanted to say I wanted to buy the dip today, but my funds didn't settle. So yeah, so I'm buying more tomorrow, both AMC and JME. So that's all I wanted to say. Bud's crazy. Thanks.
Also, you guys, I'm sorry. I pulled this up because I don't know. I cannot read the option flow on AMC, but I am starting to see a lot higher numbers. Like for March, I'm seeing calls at 95, and it doesn't seem, as I'm seeing them right now, it doesn't seem that, I don't know what they can be hedging for, but it doesn't seem that they are any spreads or anything like that. And, in the 40s, and they've got some pretty decent premiums that were spent on it. So maybe something cool. In fact, I know something cool is going to happen down the road, and it's probably around that time, maybe.
I'm pretty pumped for March. I'm just gonna say it. I think we're right on the edge of people's patience with the play, but it's kind of been led into that by all the FUD and all the potential excitement that has been coming out from Adam Aaron and the company with the new revenue streams, the NFT coming in. I think everybody's just wound up and ready to go. But you got to just realize that March is not that far away. I mean, we've held for over a year. We can wait another month to get to Q4 for this earnings to just absolutely blow up. And when it does, it's going to have to be all over the news. This is going to be the third good earnings call for AMC, which sounds like they're going to return to profitability. And if they don't in Q4, they're going to do it in Q1. So I'll be extremely interested to see how everything looks in 30 days.
Yeah, and also from February 1st to the 11th, I believe, we might see a bounce on both AMC and JME just because all the puts expired that have expired out of the money on the 21st rolls over.
Mm-hmm.
So those dates, I know we're not saying dates, but in between Feb 1st and Feb 10 or 11th, we might see a bounce. So hopefully, buy them cheap now because they might run up. So
I keep telling people my strategy when all this started dipping, when we started seeing this negative action, was I'm just going to keep buying. I'm going to keep buying monthly, just adding to my share count, because there's no way to predict what's going to happen with the market, especially with all this nonsense going on.
Right.
But you can control certain situations like how many shares you have, what your price average is, and how long you're going to hold. So worry about the things you can control. You know what I mean?
And that margin, these hedge funds margins. I mean, once the market goes down, their assets goes down. They have to bring these beloved stocks down with it. So they're playing with that margin, or like 30% margin or whatever. And once it surpasses that and goes above that, they're scrambling to pay that back, because that's what we're waiting for. That's all we're waiting for. They want to drive it down with the market that's going down, so they don't have that difference. And once that difference surpasses what they can control, you're going to see that rip. So that's what we're waiting for.
Yeah, I like to jump in on that there, Asian. So I know I made a joke and I put it out today that I was calling margin call at 2 p.m., but there's a reason why I said that. And this goes back to some old DD, that when hedge funds and we'll just say market makers for now, when they need to come up with their collateral at the DTCC, they have to come up with it, or with the prime brokers. They usually give them a few days, 2-3 days, to come up with their collateral. And the market's been dramatically down for the last couple of days, so that's why I would. And the DD says usually it's around a 2 p.m. mark when we start seeing what's going on there, Asian. What your mic's going crazy?
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah. I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay, so anyways, usually it's around 2 p.m. when you start to see the action happen. This is just some old DD, but it made sense to me back then. It still makes sense to me today that they would give them time to come up with the collateral. It makes sense, like if you were at a bank and if you weren't making your loan payment, they'll give you a chance to come up with it and such. So that's the way I see it. That's why I was calling 2 p.m. So I'm calling tomorrow 2 p.m.
All right, we
Yeah.
got some hands up here. Do you
I
want to
had to
move
get
on
my
to
happy
hands? Or?
juice. Oh, sorry, John. I didn't see your.
No, it's okay. I was just saying that we have some hands up. If you guys are ready to move on to.
Got their hands up in the air.
Yeah, you guys
Just
can
don't
take
care.
me off. You guys can take me off. Thanks.
Oh no, we don't need to kick you off. You're fine. So,
Okay, thanks.
no, you're good. Don't worry. Yep. Jason, Jonathan, and I don't know how to say your name. Is it Yer Nito? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I hope I didn't botch that up. Yeah, if one
Hey,
of you guys
Spence.
want to go, yeah, go for it.
Oh, yeah. Hey,
Yeah,
thanks,
we're
Spence,
just laid
Jen,
back today.
PJ.
Go ahead, talk.
Appreciate you guys hosting this. Hey, I just wanted to say the same thing: is just stay positive, everyone. I'm doing the same thing some of you are as well. I'm out in my yard, walking around, moving hoses around in my trees and water and whatnot. It's funny. I was watching the charts earlier today, and I kind of put it on my Twitter. I saw that bounce, and that was really sweet. And you can see right now that the inflow is way over the outflow on several stocks right now, and it's still dropping, or was dropping. Now we're starting to go back up again. It's just the same old games, different day. Get out, do something. That's all I can.
Yeah, I totally agree. Days like today, get outside if you can. Do other things besides maybe, watching the charts. It's not a bad idea, So in fact, right now I'm working on kind of a project here at home. It's a market corruption map. It's like a visual map with people on it, like Gary Gensler, Heath Tarbert, Vlad, Ken, Janet, Ben Bernanke, all those players and their connections like Citadel, the SEC, Goldman Sachs, that sort of thing. It's not done. It's kind of a work in progress, but that's kind of what I'm doing today.
I'm excited to
say,
see it completed. It looked really good.
Yeah, it's not done yet. I'm hoping to get it done in a few days before January 28th. But yeah, I'll definitely when it's all done, I'll definitely get it up on Twitter for you guys to see.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if not advice, of course, everyone. But I bought the dip on Friday, and this is such a sweet dip. I was able to drop. I was up at 38.87, average, and so I dropped $8 off my average right there. I had a limit order
Nice.
in today and didn't quite hit it at 14.15, and I went to go, water trees, and if it hits, it hits, cool, and it didn't. But I'll get it next time. Anyways, thanks for letting me talk. Stay positive, everyone.
Right on.
Hey guys, it's Jonathan. How are you guys?
Good. What's up,
Good.
man?
How's it going?
Same old, same old. One thing I just wanted to make mention of is, I think a lot of the people who are doing, a lot of the people who are doing the due diligence on YouTube and stuff, I almost feel like they're kind of doing us a disservice at this point. I think that, oh, and even some of the, I'm going to call them, I'm not going to use anybody's name because it's just not worth like me saying that, but the people who we've kind of started this movement and entrusted in, I feel like if you start really looking at YouTube and you start like typing in AMC and you see all the clickbait, and that's all that it is at this point. And every single time I even try to watch one of those, it's like, well, we're going to go to this tomorrow, we're going to go to this on Friday, oh, this is the rip before the dip before the rip and all the rest of it. And even today, I mean, I was on one of the more prominent people's chats that started at 9 o'clock this morning, and he kind of today ripped into the crowd that basically has given him plus $1 million and allowed him to quit his job and do what he's doing. And I was a little turned off by it and a little shocked, to be honest with you, because it's like, I get, listen, everybody it's free for everybody to do whatever they want and try to make money and monopolize and do all the other stuff. But I have a hell of a lot more respect for the people that are in these rooms that, in my humble opinion, are like real, versus people who are making money kind of off the backs of us and, now have changed their narrative to say, well, I didn't tell you what to do. And, and I'm not saying they're telling us what to do, but I listened to this one person for about 6 months straight, and every day was AMC and GME. And now it's completely shifted their narrative
Yep.
to a lot of other stocks and a lot of other plays. And for them to have the audacity to like sit there now and kind of act like, and I'm like, dude, like, and excuse me, because I'm from New York and we use fuck as an adjective, but where the fuck did you come from? Like, you were one of us. You were shit a few months ago, and we helped you. And we're the ones who funded all your super chats and did stuff. So it's just stuff like that. But I come in here often. I listen to everybody talk, and I just think like I would rather hear us, the real people who have real money and are really invested, versus somebody now who's making money off the backs of us and forgot where they came from. But I'll leave now and step down so somebody else can talk.
No, you
No.
brought up a very valid point. Yeah, there are people that out there on Twitter or whatever platform, and they were, maybe major influencers, and I don't want to name names, because I'm just not gonna go there. But yeah, you just got to be careful who you listen to and who you trust. And yeah, it's pretty shameful that that there were some people that were, all in AMC and Jimmy, and then sold off, and and now we're pushing other stocks or other things or crypto or whatever. You just got to be careful out there. So I'll tell you what, guys, I'm down thousands of dollars, but I'm still holding because I still believe in AMC. I'm GME too. I don't hold a lot of GME. I mostly hold AMC. It's frustrating, guys. It really is. But I ain't selling. I'm not selling a loss. Not doing it. So it's hard to look at my portfolio and see that that I'm down thousands. But you know what? I'm still here, and I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving until I get what I want. So, and that's just how it is.
Yeah, I'm down. I was up a lot when the last run to, what was it, 42 hit. I was up a sizable amount of change.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't sell because I've been down. I've been up. I mean, on January 28th, I was up a ton of money. And then all of a sudden, right back, I was up so much money. It was awesome. And then all of a sudden, 2 days later, I'm in the red. And then I'm up a shit ton of money. And then I'm in the red. look at the volatility, the stock, and every time you're down, don't think it's the absolute end. And like you said, Jonathan, some of the YouTubers, I'm if you're on YouTube making money, good for you. Do your hustle, get what you got. But the attitude of some of these people changing that are supposed to be, they've made their money off of the community. They've come out. They've actually come into Twitter, picked sides, started drama. It's just pathetic at this point, man. It's like, be real. That's why we do this, because we're not telling you to do anything. We're just here for support. None of the stuff I'm doing is monetized. I'm just chilling so people can re-listen to the space calls, because I know what it's like to be in work and you're not able to get on the space call, and Twitter's kind of weird, and you want to share it with people, so YouTube's the easier way to share it. But when these dudes get on their YouTube channel and they want to start spitting at certain parts of the community, and they support the other part of the community that's actually causing problems, but then don't have the courage to come on and correct statements they've made about this community on these calls, it says something, which I've offered for these people to come on the space calls almost every time. And I think it's just a matter of being embarrassed. I think all the TA has been wrong for the most part. Everybody kept talking, drawing these lines. Oh, this is going to break out here. This is going to break out here. Well, every single time we were supposed to have a bullish breakout, we went down. So I think getting people hyped up on TA, and if they're doing all this TA, what's the point? If everybody says all you need to do is buy on HODL, then why are we worried about TA? Why are we worried about timing the squeeze and telling people when it's going to break out? Just buy on HODL. Look at, hunt the dips, buy on HODL, and fight this stuff with the U.S. Congress. Get these congressmen to stop trading stocks. But I never hear any of the YouTubers talking about that. It's just, maybe Matt Kors talks about the political stuff a little bit more than others, but I think honestly the only one I even watch anymore is Keenan Grace, just because he has a full overall market analysis. You know what I mean? I hear what you're saying for sure on that.
So let's go. Yeah.
I don't think I want my TA from someone eating cat treats. I'm just saying.
I think Yara's up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say three things. One thing that Spencer did note is that Q1 earnings are coming up, and yeah, the sentiment has been that people want to go back to movies. Like my friend, she doesn't invest or doesn't know anything about the market, but she suggested like, "Hey, let's go see this movie." Which I'm like, "Wait, weren't you like really scared about COVID a few months ago?" And now like she's like, "Oh, let's go watch movies and this and that." And so sentiment's definitely like people don't want to stay at home anymore. The other thing, just like Jen, I'm actually writing an article on Medium regarding like the full DD on AMC, so that's gonna come out soon, hopefully
Awesome.
by the end of this month. And I think we did. I was like trying to get into the hedge fund, just like thinking about how the hedge funds work, and usually like when people get into like when they invest, right? Like, let's say I were to put my money in a hedge fund. Like, as a customer, I would basically say, "Hey, I need you to sell. I need you to sell, like all of my stuff." So, like, yeah, we've had that where like institutions don't want people to basically sell out of the institution. So, like, we saw like a tweet recently that Melvin's like down 25%. And there's not just Melvin, but other hedge funds 25%. So like, of course, customers are like, "I need you to sell because there's so many uncertainties here in the market." But in general, it just, I don't know. For me, everything like I did sell out of most of my things, but I'm still holding my AMC. I haven't sold that. Like I think my top 8 positions are still like I'm just diamond handing them basically. But yeah, I am overall, well, of course, not financial advice, but I'm definitely like hedging the overall market. But either way, yeah, sentiment. I still feel really strong about AMC, like the DD and everything. Like even writing this article, I'm like digging extra deep, and even IWM, which IMC is like the main ticker for it. Like the short interest on that ETF is like over what was it, 35%, which is insane.
So I think I seen something that said it was 44, but I mean, your point is exactly correct. They're shorting the funds, they're shorting the stock, they're shorting the funds. what does that actually put true short interest at? And that's not even with everybody's entire short positions reported. It's all self-reporting. So
Yeah, and short interest should be reported soon, right? By the end of this month or start of next month by FINRA.
Mm-hmm. And what you said about COVID too, if my kid's mother is starting to joke around about COVID and she calls it the shitty lottery now, and that you're going to either get it or not get it, that tells me that the general sentiment of people is that they're ready to get back out and do things, because she was horrified of COVID. I couldn't do anything. It was so frustrating. But she's coming back around, and she gets most of her sentiment from social media. So, and I see other people on social media too, posting photos, going out, going to dinner. Oh, I caught COVID. I took a test. I stayed home a week. I'm fine. So it's coming back.
It is. In fact, I had COVID. My husband and I had COVID, and it took about, I want to say, like a week and a half until we got over it and tested negative again. So, yeah, it honestly mimicked the cold. It wasn't that horrible, but got through it. Asia, were you gonna say something or?
Oh yeah, hey, I just wanted to say something about what Spen said about his wife, like how afraid she was, and like that was
My
how my.
child's mother. I
Oh yeah,
am not
okay.
married.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so my wife too, and she was, all this afraidness and stuff like that. But now, we go to the movies. We don't have an AMC here where I live at. I live in California, expensive as shit, but we don't have an AMC where I'm living at Northern California. But I mean, she's like, before she's like, oh, I'm not going to the movies. I don't want to touch those chairs or whatever like that. Now it's like, hey, kids, you guys want to go to the movies? I'm like, what the hell?
Yep.
I'm like, okay, let's go.
Yep. Getting out of the house, man.
It's changed. We're good.
My kid keeps talking about, how the lockdown affected her and how she was really withdrawn, and she was like a shell of a kid. And when I moved back to New Mexico, because I used to do a lot of traveling, I would just go pick her up and bring her to Michigan for the summers and stuff. I moved back here because her mom didn't want her traveling. So I changed my entire life around, and when I got here, her mom, and everybody else was just like completely terrified of everything. I said, no, we need to get outside. Sorry, I'm choking on popcorn. We need to get outside. We need to get some sunshine. When you're not out in public doing things, you might not be catching COVID, but you're also not getting the good bacterias and germs that you need for your immune system. So it's really important to get out of your house, air your house out, open them damn windows a little bit. Be surprised what a little fresh air will do for you. Maybe AMC should create some kind of vitamin D sprinkle to put on their popcorn.
Good one, Spence.
Yeah, vitamin-enriched popcorn, protein-enriched popcorn.
Bacon flavored.
Oh my God, I love bacon.
Ooh, that sounds good.
I thought they used to have all the bacon salts and the garlic salts and stuff, and I haven't seen them there. Not at mine, anyways.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. The one in Grand Rapids.
My off topic. My wife is not a trader at all, so I convinced her to buy one GameStop and 2 AMC shares not so long ago.
just buy it and feel cool and forget about it. You know what I mean? Just be like, yeah, hold.
She's red, and I was like, just wait. She's like, but I'm fucking red. I'm like, don't worry about it. I'm red too.
It's a good attitude. I like that.
Yeah. All right, guys. I gotta go. I'll see you guys later.
Right on, brother.
All right.
All right.
Did you tell your wife it wasn't financial advice?
No, I didn't tell her that. All right.
I did want to say one more thing. Tax refunds are right around the corner too.
Yep. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm already in a 12-month bracket on some of my shares. I don't. Jen and PJ, do you guys see Paul trying to request, or is he not in here?
Yeah, he's up here.
And
Yeah,
I
he's
keep
here.
getting kicked out, so I was just sitting back listening. But I just posted something up top from Dave Lauer saying that Melvin Capital's down 25% month to date. So, and he says it might be. He says it might be blowing up.
Yay!
Bye bye,
Let's
Melvin.
go.
Yeah.
Bye, Melvin. I'm so happy to hear that. And I never take joy and pleasure in people's pain, but I will make an exception for Melvin Capital.
Nah, fuck that guy.
Oh yeah, see ya. Wouldn't want to be ya.
I know they're not associated, but especially after the behavior of that dude in the smoothie shop, man. That I tell you what, if that was my daughter he threw a smoothie at, there'd be a different story on the news.
Everybody's going to hate me, but I have a different opinion about that, right? The guy's kid is allergic to peanuts, and he requested no peanuts, and his kid had a severe reaction. So I think as a parent, you go crazy. He
Oh, I
shouldn't have
guess
gone
I
that
didn't know
crazy.
that. Well,
Yeah,
maybe he was reacting the way I am saying I would have reacted.
Yeah, I mean, like he didn't just be like, "Oh, you made me a crappy smoothie," and you say horrible names. So yeah, it wasn't exactly reported like that, but his child was really sick, and I believe he was hospitalized.
Where'd you get that info?
I had no idea. Wow.
It was in the regular Connecticut papers. And I just do want to point out, too, the Fairfield, Connecticut, in that area, if anybody's from Connecticut, you'll know it's like hedge fund central around there, too. So, I mean, it is a very wealthy area. But
that's pretty jacked up.
Yeah, so, I mean, he got crazy, and I don't blame him for getting crazy, but he did take it way too far.
Well, if
I
that's
didn't
true,
realize
then
that.
I
I thought
misjudged and I am wrong because I am
Me too.
certified food chef service and all that. And I'll tell you, the first thing I do and anything I do is ask if people are allergic to peanuts or nut oil.
And part of me is thinking like maybe he went there because I guess I would have gone there to say who made it, how much peanut butter, or how did it happen, like to try to understand. And then those kids kind of gave him, maybe a little bit of an attitude, and he lost his mind.
You know,
He
they
should
probably
have
weren't
said
taking it serious. You know
right,
that
and he shouldn't have
you know,
said what he said, of
yeah,
course. But
of
I
course.
don't think it was all his. Because when I first saw that video, I was like, what a jerk. What an idiot. And then I
That was what I
Googled
said
it.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I saw that and I was like, so.
I didn't realize his kid actually had a severe allergic reaction, and you said was hospitalized too.
I don't know
I
that he was
mean, yeah, that's not
hospitalized,
good.
but it said that he had a severe reaction. So I'm
I guess
assuming because he had got it and he had gotten it, and then it was like 2 hours later he went back.
I
So
would be
I'm sure
pissed
that
off too
something
as a parent, with a child with a that has an allergic reaction to peanuts, and when you specifically request or say, hey, can you not have this in, what was it, a smoothie, or what was it?
It was a smoothie, and in the last article that I read about it, it kind of annoyed me because he wound up giving himself up, and he went and he was arrested. But the thing is, so he said no peanuts. He didn't say anything about an allergy. That's okay because listen, we all know, right? Whether you're in kindergarten or you're in college, we all see tables that say peanut free area,
Right.
classrooms are peanut free, whatever, right? And it's a serious allergy. So I know those kids in there know about peanut allergies. So somebody says, hey man, no peanuts. You would just
I would
imagine
assume,
that,
yeah.
right?
As a food handler, I would definitely assume, when somebody says no peanuts, that there's obviously a food allergy there. But that's where maybe they're younger. They were younger, the food handlers, and I guess they just, that was their mistake. They should have
Well,
realized how serious
and they were kind of snot-nosed
that is.
kids too. I mean, I'm not saying I would have gone up in their face, and certainly maybe I would have thrown something at them when you get so mad that cup of smoothie just comes flying out of your hand. But I mean, the whole thing was. I mean, I certainly wouldn't have called them names like that. I mean, that was completely wrong.
Well, and that's just the thing with the media. This is another story of what is the freaking truth? The media is so worried about just putting the story out and being first that they don't care about what the truth actually is. They didn't even, if what you're saying is true and it's like not the guy's excuse to save his reputation or whatever, that's really messed up. But why would they even process a story like that where all the information hasn't been verified yet? It's like what they do to AMC nonstop. They put out half the story. It's pretty ridiculous.
Well, they want to. You just said it yourself, Spence. They want to get the story out first, and if that means having a story out that's not, accurate, then I guess that's what it means. It's unfortunate, but that's why more and more people distrust the media.
Yeah. And if you notice, that clip was shared on YouTube, and he was identified very quickly, which I thought was brilliant. And from that clip that we saw, we all thought that same thing. But then, I think when you look it up kind of in the article, I think now it says it widely that his kid was allergic. Again, still no excuse, but I mean, there was a backstory kind of.
Yeah, and of course, the guy could have reacted a little better. But I mean, that's hindsight, of course. But yeah, I mean, I would definitely be frustrated too if that was my kid, and if I specifically requested no peanuts due to a peanut allergy, and they didn't follow that request, and now my kid's having a severe allergic reaction. Yeah, I'd be a little pissed. But he definitely could have behaved better himself, for sure.
My question
absolutely.
is, what type of peanut product do you put in a smoothie? I get peanut butter, I guess.
Peanut butter, yeah. Or maybe it was made
or Nutella, or
in a, maybe they didn't clean the drum out good enough or something.
It doesn't take much.
Yeah, so exactly, it doesn't take much, and they probably should have been a little more careful. But anyway, he shouldn't have said that stuff either. So it was just a crazy situation. And
well, I definitely wouldn't have thrown the smoothie if it was my evidence that somebody tried to poison my kid. I would have gave it to the police.
Yeah, right. I'm with you.
But oh well. Thanks for bringing it up though, because I didn't know about that. I didn't know about that.
You're welcome.
This is how we get to the truth. We host space calls on Twitter because we can't get it from the media. So we have to talk to each other and figure it out.
PJ's our in-house media news lady.
It's funny because I always look at different, every time I see something online, I look at different takes on it, because you never know. And I think that video that came out yesterday with him, or the day before, was the perfect piece of a video that would paint him as a raging elitist lunatic, and that's what I thought first. And of course, he is elitist, I'm sure, and he probably is a lunatic. I mean, obviously in his actions, but I mean, there may have been a reason for it. I just want to ask you guys, what the heck is going on with Macy's? I'm in shock. Why?
Did you guys see Kohl's today?
Yeah, they're getting bought by someone. I don't remember who. But Macy's has nothing to do with it, and I guess it's running off the back of Kohl's, up almost 17.5%.
Really? Oh wow. It's up, 17.5%. They don't have earnings coming out or anything, do they?
Not that I know of. In fact, I know that they don't, because
maybe liquidity pumps.
Suddenly it's interesting. They're listed as hard to borrow on Webull, and I know that they have a strong support at 22. So I bought some puts for 23, and suddenly, I look 10 minutes later, and I bought it when the stock was at 24, and now it's at 26. I'm like, whatever. But I do think in this market, I mean, there's no reason for it to be up 18%. And it'll come tumbling down before.
Yeah, they dumped after earnings. it looks like they do have a dividend, but they bottomed out around, what's that price? 22.50, and now it just shot like big green boom boom candle today. Just shot right up.
I
That's
know,
weird.
it's bizarre. But
I mean, what are they doing? What are they doing that's bringing in investors like that, or what's why the price movement on a stock like that in this kind of economy?
Yeah,
I don't
that's pretty bizarre.
I don't think they're doing anything. I mean, nothing that I know, nothing that I know of. I mean, here, you could see that little why is Macy's and Nordstrom's shares rising? Well, because they're covering, that's why, but they'll never say that.
Yep.
So, who knows?
AMC's making a little rebound again, which is nice. I hope it closes above. My screen's all squished down, so I can't see where my lines are. Let me go full screen. I really hope it closes above 1650. That would be something. I mean, I hope it closes in the green, but
That's what I want. Green. Come on, green. Let's go, green.
What's up, Will? Just go ahead, man. We're just kind of chilling.
Just giving you guys some info. One of the guys in the Southern California Apes group, he works at a boutique firm, and he let us know that when AMC was in the 14s, he closed his position, and it was a short position. Not the guy that we know; it was one of his clients.
We were talking earlier. I think today they came out and said, "Look, you guys are about to get margin called. You better close your positions." So the market, whoever's in control of this thing, so Schmidt, they were basically warned. They put everything they had at the stock. They dumped it as much as they can, and people started covering. I think that's what's going on, and I'm hoping we're going to see more ended tomorrow.
Oh man, I hope the rest of the market goes bloodier because I need things to buy that on a cheap. I'm not as rich as you guys, so I need discounts.
Well, look at Overstock too. Overstock went down a lot, and all of a sudden it's up 4% on the day. So it's.
Hey everyone. So yeah, I mean everything's down, right? So except for the few that have popped, but like it was down huge amounts today, and we broke through like S&P 500 support levels and shit. So like it's finally turning in a way that people are like, oh shit, and I think there's a lot of I think PJ hit it on the head, and it being a lot of covering in those other ones. I think they're covering where they can in those ETFs where they were shorting. And now we're seeing that result manifest.
Yeah, so I think it's all going to play out the way it's supposed to play out for us. I mean, there's really no other way.
I agree. I think Jay Brat's right. I think they shorted the funds. I think they shorted the stock. They shorted everything. I think they got wrapped up in such a bad position that they didn't have any way out. And the only thing to do is to try to if you're digging, try to dig all the way through the rest of the planet to the other side. I guess I don't know.
Well, one other thing to consider here is that when we went into the pandemic, there was a massive sell-off, right? And they probably had awareness beforehand that there was a coronavirus that was, going to be, or the news had broken a little bit before that COVID was going to be a thing, but not everybody bought into it. And I think it's more likely that hedge funds got in, like they were definitely already in on GameStop and AMC, but for things like certain like retail ETFs and whatnot, where we've been seeing these shorts hitting, I think a lot of it was just them realizing that retail was just going to get hammered if we shut the economy down, and them trying to take advantage of an opportunity. Now, like part of it for sure, they were already deep in AMC and GameStop and some of the others, but I think that 2020 was kind of like where they cranked up the gas to go harder, and like they went deeper in AMC and GameStop than they did the other ones, but they were also hitting the other ones. And what we're seeing, or what I think we're seeing right now, is the sell off in crypto was for liquidity, so they could pay their margin balances and to make sure that they could still trade today. And then we're seeing this bounce in some of the retail sector because they're covering in the places where it's not going to cause a melt up. And they're trying to essentially still just fight and stave this whole thing off a little bit longer, in hopes that people let go. But I think that that's what's actually going on there, more than likely. And so like this is another of those low risk of melt up situations where they're covering where they can so that they can try and keep the whole thing from melting up, which I don't think is going to work.
Couldn't agree more.
I think Ken Griffin once said, and I think he was referring to 2008, but he once said that. Sorry, I don't know if that's my mic acting up. So, anyways, he was saying that you do everything to survive one more day, and I think that's what's going on right now.
Yep.
They're all trying to survive one more day.
They're paycheck to paycheck right now, everyone.
Yeah, I got a quick question. This meeting on Wednesday with the SEC, is that a meeting where they're just going to talk about implementing the rule on transparency, or is it something that can be voted on tomorrow?
I
on
wasn't
Wednesday.
aware of that. You said it's an SEC meeting on Wednesday?
Yeah, the SEC Chairman Gary Gensler is sitting down and having a meeting on Wednesday on implementing a rule on transparency involving naked shorting.
So that proposed rule came out in November, so I would imagine that they would be voting on it at some point soon, but I'm going to look that up and I'll be right back.
Probably a good time to get that out there too right now, huh?
Yeah, it's
guys,
out
there's
there.
3 meetings on Wednesday. There's
Yes.
3 separate meetings on Wednesday, and people are getting them a little mixed up. One of them is from FINRA, the amount of liquidity that you have to have on hand. That's supposed to go into effect unless it gets changed, but it was already extended, and there's nothing that's been right now that's been in there to say it's changing. So they're going to have to put the liquidity up, and people are saying that supposedly for every dollar that you have on a margin, you have to have $10 cash in an account. And then the other one is supposed to be with the SEC, and it's about the transparency and also the profit for order flow. They're supposed to be able to disclose how much they're paying for everything. And then the other portion is, regardless of your whatever position you're in, short, long, put, call, you have to report it in 15 minutes. And if it's at the end of the day, then you have the next open business day within the first 30 minutes, something along those lines.
That's fantastic.
Yep. It's a big change too. It'll help out a lot with this transparency because we don't know what's going on. We don't know how many shorts they got going on, who it's from, if they even have them available. It's just crazy.
If they have to report their short positions that quick, if they have to actually report them, it's going to fundamentally change the stock market.
They're fighting it currently because they're saying it would cost too much money for them to have to report like that.
No, it's because they're going to have to close their shit positions is what they're worried about.
And it lets you take your position. It also lets you take your position. If they're going to short it, you don't even have to bother to touch it. Or we all band together like AMC and GME and individually do what we want to do to go against them. The third meeting, I believe, is also on the 26th. Is I think Powell is possibly going to talk about the interest rate hikes, and there's rumors for.
I think that's Tuesday.
Is it Tuesday?
Yes,
somebody was saying
Tuesday.
Okay, well, it's all around that same time, and they're talking about the interest rate hikes. I think JP Morgan said that they think it was going to be anywhere from 4 to 6 rate hikes within this year. So I think that's the big reason why we were red today. I know a lot of people thought we were going to be green and then bounce red tomorrow, but that's my personal belief.
Yeah, it was supposed to be 3, but other people are starting to speculate that it could be more than probably 4 or more. So yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty on that too.
Yeah, well,
And
the most important
I thought
is
the
this.
consensus was pretty straightforward on 4. Sorry about that, Mantis.
No, no, you're good. But the most important thing that can come out of this meeting on Wednesday is the SEC actually bringing up transparency on these naked shorts and all these shorting rules. Like that is big. Even if they announce that it's going to get approved, even if it's like 30 days out or whatever, that it's actually implemented, right? I mean, we could see something pop off very soon, and I'm interested in seeing what happens.
That all sounds incredibly bullish to me. I'm fairly excited to see what happens. Thank you guys for bringing that news up, man. That's honestly, I heard some I caught a couple articles where I read some headlines, but I missed all of that. I'm not gonna lie. So appreciate that.
You know,
Yeah.
it's going to be really entertaining to see if this goes through because it's going to prove how much more right we were. And a lot of people are, BlackRock is trying to do that whole they're trying to get it so all social media is blacked out during the squeeze, so we cannot formulate plans for when we're going to sell or if we're going to jump from this play to that play. And I did get to hear if there's some type of weird law, I don't have it exact, but this was explained to us by a friend from the firm that let's just say we're doing this call, right? And we're talking about stocks, then that's kind of like a premeditated what we're doing. However, if we're going to go on a call or a meetup or play golf, typically they do golf, and you just start talking about something, then it's okay because it's not a meditated plan. We just got onto the talk and we all decided to do the same thing. So it's something in the verbiage, and that's what they've been doing as far as manipulation. They just play with the legal terms and they meet under the circumstances so they can make these plays.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm here for my own individual investment, and I'm not giving any financial advice. This is just a group of people talking about interesting topics. Boom.
So when we all go play golf, we could talk about different things, you know.
I got 4 golf courses in Albuquerque. You guys are all welcome.
Can we play virtual golf and talk about stocks? Does that count? Like, can we all get
Yeah.
on the same game? Then it's the same, right?
Well, as long as we're going on to play a game and whatever we talk about while we're playing the game is different. We just can't go in there saying we're going to use this for this reason. Does that make sense?
Absolutely does. So, yeah. So on a par 4, I think I'm going to sell my GME for $10 million a share, just because that's the way it is. Oh my God! Do you see that slice I had? Oh my God! Look at AMC has just gone bananas, man. Yeah, I could see doing that.
So they were talking about also he dropped so much information this past weekend. It was really, really good. He was also letting us know about you know how there's certain cryptocurrencies that you're able to stake and you're going to get money off of? Well, basically because of it, they're leveraging 10 to 1. So he said it's actually very easy to manipulate the crypto and short it because reality is that there's only a few shares in comparison to what people have because a lot of them are staked. As well as if you want the price movement to go up. And he was even saying it's easier to manipulate than a stock. It was really interesting to hear what they were doing.
Well, I
That's
mean,
why I loaded up on some Voyager today because it moves almost directly with the crypto market, and I don't have to actually shoot money from my Fidelity over to my crypto account.
so like the crypto markets right now are very similar to the forex markets in 2009 through 2013, prior to the London Fix scandal. And the reason why it's so manipulable is because, kind of as you'd mentioned, there's massive amounts of leverage. In some cases, there are people who are using up to 100x leverage in the crypto markets, which was also a big problem in the forex markets in the same time period. When I was trading forex, it was 50 to 1. on the particular platform that I was on. So the amount of leverage there that's available is kind of insane if you go to the right places, right? A lot of places, you can't get leverage, like Binance US, you can't get leverage. Coinbase, from what I've seen, you can't get leverage. But there are places that will most certainly give you leverage. Like I think FTX will give you leverage. So like the right partnered place will give an insane amount of leverage. And yeah, some of it is locked up in staking, but the reality is that like for the biggest one for staking right now is Ethereum, and it's a significant chunk of the supply that's locked, but it's not all of it, and it's not nearly as much as people put it out to be. The thing is that a lot of people are just not keeping their crypto actually on an exchange, because anybody who's serious about crypto knows and understands that you don't want it to be on a centralized exchange. That's the part of the entire purpose, is to keep it away from centralized entities. So the smarter ones in the crypto community, what they do is they'll buy through Binance or whatever, and then they will send it out to their cold wallet, and they'll leave it there until they're ready to sell. So what'll happen right before a big sell-off is you'll see a massive surge in the gas prices for doing transactions on the network. And you'll see it jump to like 200-300 or more gas when it does that. Like right now we're sitting at 145 gas, which has been more or less the new normal since the pandemic started, or more specifically since staking Ethereum started, since EIP 1559. So when there was a hard fork a number of months back, the gas prices went up because of the structure of that change. It built in base gas fees, and the entire purpose was to try and bring down congestion on the network, and having to wait for so long for a transaction. But what these big players can do is, and like, this is a very easy thing to do. This is something I actually did when I moved a bunch of money into crypto back in December. Is that like you can send $100,000 or $1 million or $10 million to one of these centralized exchanges like Binance through a bank wire, and it's instantaneous. It clears within hours. And what you do is you take that money and then you buy whatever it is you're going to buy, and then you bounce right off the exchange. And you go and do whatever it was that you're going to do with that crypto, whether it's, use DeFi and try and get yield, or if you're going to do it for validating, like what I did. At that point, you're removing the liquidity from those exchanges. That doesn't mean that there's not liquidity. It doesn't mean there are people who are not willing to sell. And it's something that most of the people out there that are looking at that data have no fucking clue what they're talking about. And as a result, they're misleading a lot of people with bad information, saying like, oh, there's really low liquidity, it's going to pop. And the reality is that, for the last 2 years, essentially, crypto has been following the equities markets, because all of these funds have gotten into something that's very easy for them to control on a very limited amount of liquidity. And so that's why we've seen a 7x increase in Bitcoin in the last 2 years, because it's easy for hedge funds to get 7x leverage. Citadel has 8-1 or 8.2. So
Absolutely. Everybody was wondering why such a meteoric rise in cryptos, like Bitcoin. And what you just said covered it to a T. And now it's interesting how it's affecting the stock market so much. What's up, Italy? Tally?
Hey man, just skip me. I'm in the middle of something.
All right. What's up, Paul?
So I posted up top something that Liz Clattman just posted on. Sorry, let me turn off my notifications here. Liz Clattman, from Fox
Ooh,
Business. Markets,
yeah.
yeah, markets coming off the floor, but the true test will be at the bottom of the hour when margin calls may force more selling. Isn't that something?
Oh, she's calling it out. So there's margin calls. There's people are getting margin called. That's why they
Yep.
dumped everything this morning.
Yep. I mean, look at MSN is talking about it. It's got to be happening.
Paul was right. Way to go, Paul. Wow, you called it.
2 p.m. It's always 2 p.m.
It was you. You called it, man.
You rock, Paul.
Nice.
They're gonna have to pick sides now.
Yep, and a lot of them will have will probably have until 5 p.m. Eastern to post collateral.
I wonder how after hours is gonna play out today. Ooh.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to say the least.
Wasn't Malvern Capital? There was a headline saying that they're down 25% from the month.
Yeah, and Lauer was. I think somebody posted it in the as a sticky. Yeah, it was Paul posted Dave Lauer's tweet saying that he heard a rumor that Melvin's down 25% month to date. And that's on top of all the money that they lost last year. So don't forget, Melvin Capital was down 45% last year. So now they're down another 25%. That's nuts.
After Ken Griffin come out and said that what's his name is the greatest investor of a generation.
And they call us dumb monkeys.
I'm so glad Liz Clayman tweeted that. And Paul, thanks for finding that. And then the Melvin Capital one, it's all coming out. It's happening. I feel like the two guys from Brown Hole Capital on The Big Short when they see that first news article of the hedge fund closing down. This is amazing.
I mean, I called my mom the other day, and I called some of my friends to let them know what was going on and to prepare. I literally did the same thing they did in the movie.
Yep, that's what I told my aunt and uncle. I said, look, I know you guys are really stubborn, but you might want to move. You might want to move your money because shit's about to get real. Of course, my mom, she don't care. She's out in the woods, just hanging out. She's super chill, man. She's like, my 401k will be there later. I'm like, all right, Mom, it's the end of the world, but they got lots of squirrels and deers and stuff out there to eat. So,
I mean, I finally got my mom to buy AMC and to also buy into my other, short play on S&P 500. So
I told her to buy some, and instead it was too difficult for her to start a brokerage account because of the small banks we have back home. So she just sent me $100 and said, give it to your daughter and do what you want. So I bought AMC and a little bit of NEO with it back in the day, and I think it was over a year ago. We turned that $100 into $860 over the year. So I told my mom she can't have any of it back either. Man.
Well, markets are turning green, overall markets.
I think we're going to see a lot of hedge funds close their doors, guys. I think everybody's getting, like they're saying, the margin call's coming out and everybody's so wrapped up. When I talked to Mark today, he said there is some straight up shit going down today. So this is all, the media is really keeping it on the down low, but as social media posts keeps popping up, I feel the fire's being kindled.
Hey, I just wanted to speak on something real quick, Spence. Obviously, financial has a big part in our day-to-day lives, right? But like I told you, I'm sick, so oh man, I haven't been able to fully work out or do things for a few years, and I was a fireman, so I was used to work out, played sports in college, and the whole deal. And because of listening to the space calls, hearing the positivity and these groups and stuff, it really motivated me and kept me in great mood where I could finally go back to the gym. Last week I worked out 5 days, and granted it was light and so forth, but man, it felt amazing. um, but I wanted to say I appreciate the group, because hearing you guys bringing it up, the information and things like that, it's been motivating and putting me in a good space.
I appreciate that, man. I need to go to the gym so bad. Hosting these space calls, man, it's killing me. I'm eating less because I'm sitting down more. But if we wouldn't have got together today to do what we did, we wouldn't have got your information, Paul's information, Jay Brett's information. Now we're a more educated group of people in the play because we all got together and talked and shared. So, it's all thanks to you guys too. Everybody that comes to the call, we appreciate it so much because I just absorbed a ton of knowledge, and I'm super, super happy about it today because, I was busy playing Pokemon because I got, a little discouraged and I missed all of that. I did level up. I did catch a Zubat and a Geodude though, so. Man, I think this is not getting the attention it deserves. It's underwhelming to the social media structure here. But Liz Clayman coming out talking about margin calls and Melvin being down 25%. Stocks that are pumping that have no reason to pump, like Macy's. If anybody's heard anything about why Macy's is pumping, come up and let us know. But
wasn't Kohl's like part of the meme stocks?
Yeah, I don't know if Kohl's was part of the meme stock or not. I missed that one, which I'm really mad because my buddy called me today. He's like, I'm up 117% on Kohl's. I'm like, so where was the heads up on the, when you bought the stock? How come you didn't text me, bro?
I mean, I wouldn't be at all surprised if Macy's was heavily shorted. Like, if you look at how Macy's has traded for like the last decade,
Yeah.
everybody's been mega bearish on Macy's, and like Macy's keeps closing down stores, and they've like tried to pivot to online business, and like they've continually failed to stay relevant multiple times. The only thing that like really keeps them relevant is like the Macy's Day Parade, and the fact that we have a bunch of our, grandparents and parents who grew up using Macy's as a brand. So like there's still a lot of the older generations are still very they believe in Macy's. And so they'll still shop there, and so like it kind of keeps it still afloat, and some people will still buy the stock because of the notoriety, the name. And so like I'm sure that it's on this slow death spiral, partly because of these funds that think that this is a brick and mortar retail establishment that's going to die, just like all the other brick and mortars that they've been betting against.
Yeah,
I will say that they've done like really well when it comes to online, but besides that, just want to add that.
Oh, has their online business done pretty well? Like when I had heard about it, I had heard it was not doing so great, but I hadn't actually looked at the numbers.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Kohl's, Macy's popping off today. Man, I was down. Voyager Digital was down 17 to 20 something percent when I bought the dip, and of course, like I said, Voyager is tracing crypto really hard because that's their whole business. They're only sitting at a 3% loss on the day now. AMC is still chugging away, man, above that 1550 line. Man, oh man. I don't know. Is that happening? Is this it? Is there stuff going on? Is this what we've been waiting for?
I think we're gonna have to wait a few days to find out.
Yeah.
To be honest,
That's what I was gonna say.
We see a lot of things that look like those signs, but the things that we have to keep an eye on here is gonna be like watching the S&P 500 and seeing like, is it still going to close the day underneath the 200-day moving average? Like, it had a really deep candle today, all the way down to 42.22, but it's not only gone back up to neutral, it's now back in the positive by 0.2%, right? And it's up there trading close to the 4430 mark. It's at 4400, so it's like it's fighting that 4400 level to $4,300 level, which is where, if you look back in September, October time range, that's where we had a consolidation that basically landed on like the 100-day moving average, and it touched the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud, right? And then it popped off again, and jumped back above, the 13, the 50, and the top of the Ichimoku cloud. And so like it like that creates a base that makes it kind of difficult to push through. And so it gets buoyed by things like Tesla, Amazon, the rest of the FANG stocks, Microsoft, like all those things are kind of buoying the market because, there's sell-offs, but there are people who are like averaging down a little bit, probably thinking that, this is going to be, a continuation, right? Where we've consolidated and then people are thinking there's going to be continuation. But realistically, this is most likely a bull trap. This is a very classic bull trap.
I do agree with you. Jim Cramer did say today that they bought. So we do the inverse,
That's the clear sign to sell right there. If Jim Cramer's buying or saying to buy, that means sell. Not financial advice, though.
Somebody posted on Key Times when he told to buy stocks that were absolutely at their peak and just tanked. Bear, Netflix. What was the medical one he said to buy? The one wrapped up in all that scandal. I forgot the name of it.
You mean MiMedx? The one that Mark was short on?
Was it MiMedx or was it?
He promoted MiMedx, if I recall correctly, on his show. Like he had the CEO on there, if I remember correctly.
The dude just doesn't make very good calls.
Well, assuming that he doesn't know that they're actually bad calls and that he's not doing it on purpose.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true.
Like,
that's very true.
How can you be that bad at picking stocks? Seriously, like,
and be a national TV icon.
Yeah, you're an ex hedge fund manager who used to manipulate. Who used to know the tricks of manipulating the market. Who has friends at hedge funds, who still talks with them, who has his own investing club. Like, there's no way he could be that bad at picking stocks on accident, right? Like, that's something that a brand new trader would do, not somebody with 20, 30, 40 years of experience like Kramer has.
He's the original shill, man. Like, it's pretty bad. IWM closed up 2.4% and is pushing in the after hours. Let's see, AMC.
Interesting.
AMC closed 1663 and is staying stable after hours. Overstock closed up 5.5%. I'm telling you, they were shorting Mark's stocks, man. They attacked Mark's stocks really hard. Might be a conspiracy theorist, but I saw it. What's up, Jared?
Hey, what's up, man? I think it's worth mentioning that there really needs to be an inverse Kramer ETF along with a perfectly aligned Pelosi ETF.
There's a new Twitter account called the Inverse Kramer ETF, and they're actually posting all of Kramer's recommendations and going back and doing analysis of all the old ones and stuff and rehashing it. It's hilarious. It is. I think it's the best thing going on Twitter right now.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to apply for options and just, I don't know shit about options, but like, I'm willing to
Do
place
do
those bets.
research.
I
Do
know,
lots of research first.
I know, but it just seems too good to be true. Like, as far as, at least with Pelosi or any insider, really, the stuff that Unusual Whales put out and versus what Kramer says. I mean, Kramer seems super solid. Like, anything he pumps, shits the bed.
Robin Hood. That's what
Yeah.
I forgot. Robin Hood's a dumpster fire today. Oh my god.
Oh, Jesus.
I made
Yeah.
NFTs of it just bleeding out.
Well, I mean, didn't he also recently shill Tesla as well?
I don't know if I heard him, unless I missed it, which I very much well probably have missed that.
There was one of his things that he had promoted that I like immediately. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do this one position as an anti-Kramer play, and I think it was Tesla. And I want to say that I'm currently up 5% on that put,
Nice.
and I gained 33% today.
Yeah, I'm still regretting not shorting Hood. That was a mistake. That's one I'll always keep in my mind as a sour grape. What did Hood close at today? Let's see. Hood closed at 13.12. So it pulled back up 1%. I'm guessing we're going to see Hood probably drop a little more next week. Well, man, oh my God, there's so much news. That's so much good news. I'm surprised Adam Aaron is so quiet the past. When's the last time he tweeted?
I don't even know. Like, I
Was it the
haven't seen any
NFT?
tweets from him. Yeah,
There
Maybe
was some.
because
NFT.
I
There
wonder if
was
he
somebody.
knows.
There was somebody who was doing, I guess, doing with Adam Aaron what they were doing with Ryan. Or, anyways, they were saying that he always tweets every 2 or 3 days or something, and he should be on target soon. I just personally think he might have. It's just 100% guess, but I just think he's under the weather. He might have caught the Omicron. Who knows? I think that's what he may be lying back. But then again, it could be all these new things coming online, like we're talking about, and he's got his
Yep.
hands full.
Uh,
He's got to get media releases together and stuff.
he might not be able to say anything with the margin calls and everything that's popping in. The DOJ's been running around. Yeah, I mean that theory might be true. They might have the really heavily shorted meme stocks. They might have said, "Hey, we need you guys to chill so we can handle this and not crash the global economy doing it."
Well, and some people I follow, they're upset with Adam, and I don't blame them. I know maybe he's not concerned about the stock, but I think he should be, right? Because he's both. And it would have been nice maybe him to come out and just to do some positive reinforcement of what, just to reiterate what AMC's doing going forward. Talk about the popcorn, talk about all the stuff that we know about, right? It would just help reinforce something positive outside of what we already know. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's. I mean, I've been critical of him, and I don't feel I've been disrespectful to Adam Aaron, but I'm so tired of people in the community going, Adam Aaron is all there is, and Buy and Hodl's it, and if you don't like it, I'll block you. It's just silly, man. The reason that AMC is doing what it's doing is because people gave critical or critiqued Adam Aaron and critiqued the company and gave ideas on how to fix it. If you question the CEO, it doesn't make you a anti-AMC person. It makes you more of an AMC person because you're looking after your investment, and look at how much AMC On Demand has done in the past 3 months because we've been hooting and hollering on Twitter about it. They see it. they need to know what we want and what we want to spend our money on. We're not just the investor, we're the customer. So,
Well, we own part of the company, and he works for us. And if you own shares, you have a right to talk to the CEO of the
yeah,
company.
if we
I
weren't
mean,
here,
you don't have
AMC
to
wouldn't
pick him
be
up on
here.
the phone. I mean, he's not going to pick up the phone. He might, you never know. But, you have every right on this planet because you own shares. It's your company. And bring forward ideas. You can question them. Like you could say, "Where are you, Adam?" Like, or whatever. Where are we going? It's up to you. Always be respectful, though, of course, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He probably gets the stupidest DMs, man. I'm telling you, some of the DMs I get, I close my computer and I just go lay down on the floor face first because the DMs are so bad. It's not just like rude people. I mean, it's just DMs that don't make any freaking sense whatsoever. So I can't imagine the shit he gets. And I try to answer all mine. I try to, everybody wants to be recognized and everybody wants to be heard. But don't assume just because your DM hasn't been responded to that it hasn't been read.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Spence, I did send you something on a DM a day
Oh,
or two ago.
jeez.
No, 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 no. It's okay, man. I'm not upset. I don't care. I understand you're overloaded. I just what it was it was a website that would give you daily box office numbers.
Ooh,
So,
cool.
and yearly as well. I can send it to you again.
I wonder how. I haven't checked the box office today. Why don't you pin it to the top? Watching the
Okay.
box office will help you mentally. Telling you.
Okay, well, I'll see if I can do that.
Cool, cool. Office numbers. Because we know Scream did good. Oh, wow. Wait, 2014. Oh, this is the wrong movie. Whoa. Holy shit.
What?
Bell brought in 61.2 million.
What did?
Bell, the one I took my daughter to see the other day that I said was really good. It's the third highest grossing Japanese film of 2021, accounting for 6.53 billion in box office rankings as of December 12th, 2021. And it's saying that the domestic box office, this is Studio Ghibli. They nail it. They knock all their content out of the park. Yeah. Holy crap. Okay, more anime. Adam Aaron, more anime. That's pretty big for a
I
Japanese
mean,
anime film in America. The musical scores in that film are next level. They're absolutely beautifully orchestrated musical numbers. So
I think what's happening is a lot of people our age, um, in our 30s, grew up with a lot more exposure to anime. And a lot of that is due to Dragon Ball Z. Like I think
yep.
no one in that entire community would ever deny that Dragon Ball Z on Cartoon Network brought anime to a massive group of the millennial generation.
Absolutely.
Massive group. And that then spread into Cowboy Bebop, Trigun, Naruto, One Piece, and the list goes on, right? And even into a lot of the newer things. So like I could definitely see that being and we've also seen our fair share of, complete anime flops, right? Like any of the uh live action ones until the Netflix until the Netflix Cowboy Bebop, pretty much every live action has just been garbage. There's been some that have been pretty good, but like the only one I've really been like, wow, this is amazing, was like Netflix got Cowboy Bebop like spot on. It's like
Well,
perfect casting.
check this out. The Demon Slayer Mugen Train movie cleared 503 million US dollars
Wow.
You know, and that's when theaters were still just opening. If this movie would have dropped now, because the Demon Slayer following is absolutely freaking insane.
Yep. It's a pretty big group of people
So
that like that series.
anime is really kicking it in the box office, man. Bell hitting 61.2 million. That's big for a production like that.
Hey guys,
Yeah.
I was doing some digging, and it looks like yes, there is margin calls that happen today during midday for the sell-offs. They haven't announced which companies have been called, but it's showing up. If you Google it, you'll see that people are mentioning it in different fields, not just Fox.
Maybe that's why Mark's busy today and not on the call.
Man, I'm so excited. I really hope this went through.
I'm okay. So with box offices crushing, we know Q4 is going to smash. You got all the Gary Gensler, the SEC, the new regs coming out, the meetings coming up. You got margin calls are happening today. You know, all the TV anchors are coming out and tweeting about it.
Now, I wanna temper that though.
Go
Margin
ahead. I'm
call
too
does
excited.
not mean liquidation. Margin call means you have an opportunity to post collateral to maintain your positions. So margin calls being talked about are a good thing in that some of them will very likely lead to liquidations. And we may have seen some people liquidating their own positions today as part of those margin calls that went out earlier, right?
He's got to suck
Just
the fun
so
out
people
of
know.
everything. You always got to suck the fun out of everything.
Real quick,
I'm just
you're
being
correct.
realistic.
You, Jay Brett, you are
100%,
correct,
Jay.
and I should have clarified.
Well, that was me. I got overly excited, Will.
Oh, sorry. So it says nothing happened. Unfortunate, the guys were forced to sell by margin calls at midday today. That's the general consensus on Google when I was searching it to see if there's any companies. And there's about 7 or 8 tweets from different people that they're talking about it.
Yep. And I mean, the reason why I was calling it out wasn't really so much to point it at both of y'all, but I see it all the time on Reddit. People get all excited about margin calls, and it's like if you paid attention when you were, reading The Big Short, or if you were, watching the movie, they talk about how like they get on the phone with Goldman, or they get on the phone with JP Morgan or Bear Stearns or whoever it was that they have their their short contract with, and that they call in, rather, right? Like Deutsche Bank called in to Steve Eisman's fund, right, and said, hey, we need you to post an extra 1 million in collateral today by the close of business, right? And the close of business is usually like an hour after the markets close. So within the next hour or so, we'll see things settle, and then tomorrow morning we'll see the fallout of any of that sort of stuff. So like we very well could see people getting liquidated. Margin calls lead to liquidation, but oftentimes people on Reddit, more than anywhere, tend to get super excited about hearing about margin calls, thinking that that's the end game, and that's really step 1 of 2. And then step 2 is liquidation, right? So what we hope for is that they're not able to further maintain their positions, and that they can't come up with the collateral needed to post for their positions, so that in the morning they end up getting liquidated.
See, that's
Thanks,
what's
Jay Brett.
concerning to
Thanks,
me.
Jay Brett, for. Oh, sorry, Spence. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, man.
Thanks, Jay Brett, for clarifying that. Because I've always looked at it a certain way, but I like how you said that, and it makes a lot of sense. I posted the box office stuff up top there for you, Spencer, for anyone. And also Mark put out a tweet, so I put it up top as well if you want to have a look at it.
Mark operates like a pig on LSD.
Oh, I love it. And I love Sammy's reply
Yep.
with the GIF.
That's funny. Yeah, I'm pumped up because there's been times in the past where people said, "Hey, there's no way these funds aren't getting margin called," and then you had, Ken Griffin flying around the world giving Melvin Capital $2 billion. I think we've finally got them down to where they are out of liquidity. I think it's done. I don't think these other hedge funds can afford to bail each other out anymore. I think they have to take care of themselves. So I'm pretty excited to see which funds are closing their doors in the news this next couple weeks.
I mean, I think we still see more sell-off in crypto first, because it looks like we're consolidating right now. We hit, a couple of different support levels there, but I think that tonight we might see a sell-off, at which point, if we see a sell-off tonight, then I would assume we have just a little bit longer that they're going to try and push this along, and maybe some small funds dry up along the way in this over the next week. But I think there's still more to play out in this, because I don't think we've hit the bottom of the crypto well.
That's the
And
better mentality to have, for sure, though.
I did see
yeah,
some news regarding BlackRock and Citadel wanting to something regarding the blockchain and crypto. So I was just like, that's kind of interesting to be putting that out. Like, I think I saw it either this morning or yesterday.
Yeah, Citadel's getting into the crypto game. That was part of what all that news
getting
was about
into
them.
quote unquote, like they haven't been in it for 2 years already.
Right. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Got to be legit at some point.
Yeah, no, and you've got some funds, some people who their primary, strategy is on crypto, particularly like Bitcoin, like Michael Saylor. So like there's some big funds out there who's like 50+% of their portfolio is Bitcoin. Which is, probably a little bit of why there's some resistance at some of these levels that we're at. But a lot of these funds got in at like 10K or lower on Bitcoin, and a 7 or higher multiple less on Ethereum and some of the other altcoins. So like, in order to really kind of extract all of that liquidity that they put in, starting in like October 2020, we have to get back to those levels, really. Now I think there'll be some level on top of that, but then again, there's also that artificially inflated entire market that we've been in for the last decade that, who knows how much of that will actually, happen. I don't know. But I think there will be some level above which, above the like March, the March 2020 sell-off when we first learned about COVID and lockdowns and stuff. Like, I think it'll be slightly above that. But I mean, it very well could fall through the floor below that too. So
if you notice, Bitcoin did that bounce right when I think it hit 28, and they tried to push it up real quick. They do not want it going, so it goes back to your point.
yeah, I think let me look. It dropped today to I'm on Ethereum, not on Bitcoin. My bad. Bitcoin dropped to 32,946 was the low. Ethereum dropped below 2,200 today, or 2,280. It dropped to 2158. Yeah.
But this weekend didn't Bitcoin drop to like 28?
No. Bitcoin's been above 40, I think, until this last weekend. Bitcoin dropped below 40. Let's see. Okay. So Bitcoin dropped below 40 on the 21st. So 3 days ago. And that's when it dropped down to about the 35 range where it's kind of been hovering, and it's picked up support at the like 36, 35 range, because again, that's where like everybody in the market knows Michael Saylor picked up a bunch of Bitcoin at 35. And so there's very likely a lot of support at 35, because if Saylor thinks that there's support at 35 and Saylor bought at 35, then other people are going to look to either like average in on the play, or they're, they may be thinking it's the bottom and that Sailor's going to make a big push, or, other people in the space are going to make a big push. But the reality is that most of the people in the crypto markets have no fucking clue what they're talking about or what they're doing. And they don't realize the connectedness of the markets. And so they're like, oh, it's the bottom, buy the bottom, which then creates this support level that triggers a bull trap, which is precisely what has formed here. Is this like, it looks like it's bottoming, but it's actually consolidated. And until Bitcoin were to break out above like 42K, it's still in this like nasty descending bear channel. Like, and it has no moving average support anywhere. So the only supports that exist on this thing right now are through like fib retracements on previous support levels, like going back to like July of last year, where it bottomed out at was it 29.2. Like that's gonna be a support, like 30 is gonna be a support level. And then right now we're dealing with like the highs of June, like the late highs of June and the lows of May, right? So we're bouncing off those May lows right now, but those supports won't last for very long. And we're still in this bearish channel. So crypto's, until it breaks out of that channel, it's still going to sell off. So, right now what we're seeing is consolidation. I think I said earlier this, like before the week started, that we dropped off. I would suspect that we see about a week of consolidation, and then probably Friday night again we're going to see a massive sell off. And by that point in time, by like, let's see, what is it, 28 is the low, is that point, we could see it hit 27. But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think we're going to see it hit below 30 until like mid-February or maybe March, because like
None of this matters because I've mined 600 Pi coins and I'm going to be filthy rich now.
I mean, I've got. Oh, go ahead, Will.
Speaking of Pi coins, is there any other ones that we can mine like that, whether it be on a computer without buying a rig? Or
I think there's one other.
There's the B network.
No, I mean there's plenty of them out there that you can mine, and you don't have to have a GPU or an ASIC. It's just that they're not profitable in most cases, right? So like you can mine Doge, you can mine, and actually I think one of the most efficient ones you can mine is like Monero, because Monero can't be run on a GPU and it can't be run on an ASIC. And so like Monero becomes kind of this amalgam of, massive anonymity. But on top of that, because of the difficulty to mine it, it also has, scarcity and some other things going for it. So it tends to be slow to mine it, which means that the price it stays buoyed, but it also has the fact that it is the security, the privacy crypto token, because like nobody knows who anybody is on Monero, and like you can't even track wallet to wallet transactions easily or something like that. Like, and the federal government has multiple like bounties out on being able to hack Monero, which have not been collected on. So like if you want to pick a coin aside from Ripple that the government hates the most, the second most hated one on the list is
real quick. Hey Jen,
Mhm.
PJ, Tara's trying to come in under her other account, so don't remove her if you did.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was like, oh, fake account. Okay.
That's what I thought too.
I didn't even see that Tara had shown up. My bad. But yeah, like this, I don't know. All this stuff is consolidating right now, and I think a lot of movement is going to be pegged on the results, the outcomes of those upcoming meetings, because people have focused have shifted their focus from individual stocks and everything and all this other stuff in the news into what is the macroeconomic trend, because that's come back on the radar in a very real way, particularly when you start to see the sell-offs that have been happening since, December and early January of like the S&P 500, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and, other major indices that are all showing massive weakness, um, as of even the last few days. So like, I think that the shift right now is on the macroeconomic status. And once we get clarity on, what is the Fed going to do this time to fuck the whole thing up? Because they're in a no-win situation. There's no good outcome that they can present that won't like hurt the economy worse, like down the road if they, don't let this thing run. And like, everybody is expecting a very hawkish tone. So unless there's a dovish surprise, what'll end up happening is that if they come out and they say things that are very hawkish and they're like, we're still going to raise rates, we're still going to cut QE, we've got, and then if the SEC's, rule for reporting and all the other things go through, what will end up happening is we'll end up seeing a continuation of the sell-off, and it'll be kind of abrupt. And then we'll see probably another consolidation period, because it's going to take a little while for all these funds to get to the point of crashing and liquidating. It's not going to be instantaneous, which is again why, we've talked about for the last year the fact that like these run-ups on short squeezes, they can last for weeks, like they don't just happen overnight. And the reason is that, as other people have mentioned, they give you time to go and, post collateral. Sometimes that's the same day, sometimes it's a couple days. But you've got time. They give you time to react, and the other people that are your competitors, but are also, at least willing to, band together for the quote unquote common good of the, the Wall Street elite. Like they'll go as far as they can with each other just to ensure that their way of life doesn't change. But the moment that becomes untenable, it then becomes a point of every man for himself. And that's when you'll start seeing the individual funds fall off and nobody giving capital backing or anything like that to keep the ball moving forward. And so you'll see a more broad sell-off. And I think we see a broad sell-off when we see crypto kind of bottom out.
Well, Tara was gonna come in and speak. I wish we would have known that was her account, because does anybody know how to re-add a person that's been removed to a space?
I'm so sorry, you guys. That was absolutely me, and I just saw this Tara face without her real, handle, and I was like, yeah.
So I just pinned her new account to the top, so you guys can follow her, give her a follow, so we can get her back in the game. I mean, we started this call pretty early anyways. I say we go till like 3:00, because we covered so much already. And Tara said just keep rolling, and that she's got her eye on you, PJ.
Tell her I'm sorry, girl.
No, it's been a really good call. Tara's account got locked out today again. If you didn't hear me the first time, so pain in the butt. It's really annoying. I got a hashtag going on my Twitter feed, but she did start a temporary account. It's posted above. You can follow her. We'll get her back in the next space call. Other than that, if anybody has anything to talk about or share, I don't even know how to talk about anything else after what we just covered,
I did want to add another stock that did pop. It was Dillard's, so another brick and mortar.
Huh. So
Wow,
Dillard,
I wonder what's up with that. Dillard's, Macy's. I know what's going on with Kohl's, but that was pretty interesting.
Aren't
And
they
by
all in? Aren't they all in that XRT ETF that has like 700% short interest?
oh, I didn't hear about that. That would make
I
sense
You
think
didn't
though.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Let me look that up.
like XRT is retail ETF. And it's like it's the most corrupt and like screwed up ETF out there because the managers of the fund apparently just don't give a shit, and it got shorted to shit. Like it but also there was another thing I was looking at that was talking about active participants with ETFs and the the method of doing what is it, like redemptions, and like that was weird. I don't know a whole lot about it. I think I'd be interested to do some more like deep dive on it, or if somebody can do a deep dive on that, like how that all works. Because like it shows this like insanely high level of short interest, but like there was a post on Reddit saying like, but then they, that one person went and discovered an article where somebody said that, this is how the redemptions actually work, and like when you actually go to do the redemption, like it turns into an FTD until it's delivered or something. It's really weird. So like that's why I think it would be good to do like a deep dive on it.
Hey, Jay Brett,
Yeah.
are you kind of talking about when they've been rolling over?
Nope.
Okay.
Rolling over stuff has to do with futures and contracts for difference and options and stuff. What I'm talking about is really just like uh redemptions, in the sense of like when you go to actually create shares in an ETF, there's a process of redemption, and there's a process of something else. Like essentially there's two processes, one where you create shares in the ETF and one where you remove shares in the ETF, and like how they add physical shares into the ETF. All of that doesn't like when you go and you buy a share of IWM, for example, you're not actually going to get an immediate purchase of all of those shares of stock that are in that ETF. What it does is it increases the net asset value. And basically, by the end of the day, they'll go through and they'll try and like settle things up. And so they may buy or sell stocks in the indices based on how far off they are from that net asset value. So if it falls too far out of line, they'll buy shares in order to like get it back up to the NAV, and the same goes for if it's above, they'll short or they'll sell off shares sometimes in order to bring it in line, but they do that to keep the portfolio in balance. But as for like the specific process of redemption and the process of like how the active participants actually interact with the ETFs, that's the part that I don't think many people in the community has a whole lot of awareness of, including myself.
Gotcha. I do know that on IWM, the guy that I was talking about, I'm going to see if I could get him to join one of these calls these days, because he's a wealth of knowledge and he has inside information on what's going on. He actually said that BlackRock showed a slide in this meeting where IWM was 80% shorted.
Wow.
I mean, I could believe that.
Furthermore, what he was saying is, and I don't mean to bring it up as he's a know-all, meaning Lou, but it's interesting to see the correlation. So this guy, the only reason I'm not saying his name because I don't know if he wants his name out there or whatever. So I just got to make sure, because I don't want him to have his account closed.
For sure. Because like if this guy is, considered an insider at whatever company he's working for, sharing that information could get him in trouble.
Yeah. So what happened was he did share with us that he doesn't know exactly how it's done, but because it's above his pay grade. But he said that what Lou said, when you could take it off the books, you can, as long as you have ownership in another company and you could put it in your subsidiary. And what he thinks is that since he buys so many shares in these companies, meaning Penn Griffin, he was able to move them off the books, and he's putting them on to people's books that were already going to go bankrupt anyways. So what difference was it going to make if you just add more to it? So he was giving us the examples of how they were moving it offshore and into different areas, but it all has to do with your subsidiaries to that company, which is how they were moving it to the Cayman Islands and I think Brazil. And basically,
Yeah, Brazil was one of the ones that has come up.
And he went on to basically, since no one really knows how many calls were in the money, they just kept on rolling these puts over, or the shorts over. So that's why they're screwed regardless. They just kept on rolling everything over, so they never covered. But now they paid a high premium every time they have to roll it over.
You guys want to hear something really funny about Jim Cramer? He's not a good analyst in real life, and he's an even worse analyst when he plays one in movies. Remember when he told everybody to sell Stark Industries 2 weeks before Tony Stark made Mark II and perfected the arc reactor? I mean, the dude's off on every aspect in every reality.
It's so true.
Stark Industries, sell. And then Tony Stark creates the best energy source on the planet Earth. So should play that.
And privatize defense.
Yeah, privatize world peace.
Global peace. That's what it is. Yeah.
I want to play that clip.
That part was great. And that was one of the things that's always bothered me. It's like, why Jim Cramer? Why not get like CV Payne to do like Iron Man? I would have much preferred to have Charles Payne be an Iron Man.
Oh, that would have been way better, man. All right, I'll play the clip of him telling you to sell Stark.
We need to get Charles Payne in whatever movie is going to come out at the end of all this, because like we know that this is going to end in a catastrophic meltdown / melt up, and I think it would be kind of cool if he had a part kind of like The Big Short. I get the feeling Michael Lewis will write another book, and it'll be called The Everything Short.
Yeah.
And we could see a movie from that.
Can we have Samuel L. Jackson narrate it?
Wait, Samuel L. Jackson, or should we have Morgan Freeman? Because I love Morgan Freeman so much more as a narrator. Now, we should totally have why am I blanking on him right now? Samuel L. Jackson. There we go. Why we could have Samuel L. Jackson play a character. I think it would be awesome if he was like one of the main characters. But I would prefer to have Morgan Freeman doing the narration.
Okay, can we at least have him do an interview with Jim Cramer? What were you thinking? Like just talking smack to him?
It could be set up similar to not Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction. We could have him play a character like Pulp Fiction.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Oh, look at the big brain on Brad.
I watch too many movies and TV shows.
I'm with you.
So I just got an email too. This is just for the state of New Mexico, but it looks like the eviction moratoriums are up.
Uh-oh.
So that's a big thing for the housing market. That's just for New Mexico. I don't know if it's federally, but if eviction moratoriums are starting to pop up where people can be evicted, better watch the housing market.
I think they said February 1st is supposed to be all across the nation. And they were able to start applying, I think, in the middle of January because, it takes a few weeks. So this is going to be interesting because BlackRock, Zillow are some big holders in there.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, I've tried to warn people the whole time. I said during this eviction moratorium and foregoing, the forbearance, I said, you guys better be ready to pay out later on because you're going to get evicted. You're going to lose your money. You're going to lose your house. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens to the housing market on the backside of margin calls, huh?
Oh yeah, like that was one of the other big catalysts I've been talking about for, the last year is like we're in yet another mortgage crisis like we were in 2008. Only this one's it's only slightly different. It's another bubble just because if you look at a lot of the big markets like California, San Francisco, or sorry, California, Seattle, Washington, Austin, Texas, Dallas, Texas, New York City, all those are big tech hubs, and every last one of them has just been utterly decimated in terms of like reasonable home prices.
Yep.
And I've talked about it
Albuquerque's
on a previous call.
terrible.
Like nationwide, homes are selling for 30K over asking, sight unseen, and all cash. Which, like, it's either coming from individual investors that are speculating, or it's coming from firms or companies buying up the supply and artificially driving up the demand.
Yep.
And as the homes go up in value and people are trying to buy homes, they end up with homes that are debt and not assets, just like in 2008. Because on top of all that, we were shut down in a pandemic. Everything was artificially inflated and held up for 2 years. People weren't kicked out of their homes. People weren't paying rent. So like the landlords were taking forbearance. So you're seeing all that stuff in, and then don't forget the student loan payments that were deferred until this year too. So you've got like all of this debt that's about to roll on to people, and it's unfortunate, but a lot of people are going to get hammered really hard over the next 6 to 9 months, or even the next couple of years, just off of processing all these foreclosures and evictions and everything else. So
Well, and some people will come in and say that the difference is the fixed rate mortgage now, but the problem is it doesn't matter if your interest rate is 3.5% or 200%. If you're behind on payments, you're not going to be able to catch it up. It's just obviously 200% is far worse, but fixed rate mortgages are not going to save the market from exactly what you just said.
Yeah, and I mean, like, the thing is, like, fixed rate mortgages have been around forever. The adjustable rate mortgages became popular at that point in time, but I heard a rumor that adjustable rates were popular again. I don't know how true that is because I haven't looked at the data, but I'd be curious to see if that can be validated or not.
Ugh. Oh man.
Now, what's going to be really interesting is anybody that bought a house recently at this overvalued prices, and this happens, they're going to be so upside down.
Yeah, I mean you're stuck in a home where the value of the home is less than what you paid for it when the bottom falls out of it, and like, do you sell at a loss? Do you, like, if you still have your job, you hope it recovers, right? But will it ever recover back to that level? How many years is that going to take? Who knows, right?
These folks moving to Albuquerque are going to get absolutely destroyed. Their houses here are 30 to 40% overvalued, and there's an influx of people coming from the inner cities.
California
specifically.
I'm sorry for all of those people going over there to ruin your state, brother.
No. They ain't ruining the state. It's New Mexico, dude. New Mexico's got its own problems.
I know. I've been through there.
They're just getting hammered on these housing prices right now.
I want to see I think we ought to go and look at the California housing market and see like what housing prices look like.
I could tell you.
Because like, are they still going up? Because
Yes.
if they're going up and people are leaving in droves, that is like the biggest sign of a bubble ever.
So check this out. Okay, so one of my friends, she's the mother of the mayor of my city. She's owned her house for quite some time. During the 2008 bubble and crash, the beginning of COVID, it took from 2008 to the beginning of COVID for her house to recover from that fallout.
Wow.
So that shows you right there where that's at. The second part is they offered to say, "Hey, we'll sell you this property, $650,000." It was 1,700 square feet. It had a pool and it had a central air, the whole deal, right? Nice place. Not a big lot, by the way. California's land is not large by any means.
It's the same in Washington.
And this year, it's valued at $900,000. Mind you, right at the beginning of COVID, it was $650,000.
Yeah, guys, I could speak to that a little bit too. I live in Northern California, and I just drove down to Sac for a little while on a little trip. And on my way on the freeway, 5 freeway, there is new construction. I mean, as far as I can see, like groves of trees right next to the walnut trees, just construction like massive. And all of those homes start at 475, and they're stick still. My house, I live in a little tiny neighborhood, probably a 2-ish type range. I bought my house for 243 a year ago. It is now worth 330 on Zillow. Haven't done a damn thing to it. Well, I've done some stuff on the inside, but yeah, there's tons of houses, just like I said, going up left and right, and they're massive amounts of money.
Are those houses that are going up, like, are those developments finished, and are there like not people living in them, or are they like still completely in development?
They're mixed bag. So it's a big, huge neighborhood. Some you can see are absolutely done, and then they're just still construction, more building out. So on the freeway on 5, it's just lots of farmlands on right and left of the freeway. And on both sides, you can just start seeing where the developments are pushing out further and further and further. It's insane. I don't know how people can afford it. I mean, I know they're probably buying there to go and work in Sac and whatnot because it's cheaper.
It's crazy because the amount of people that I'm meeting coming from California, coming to Albuquerque, the exact reason they say they come here is because they can't afford housing in California. And if those houses are being built, like you said, these builders are building them at the peak of material costs. So the house is going to devalue more than once when this crashes. This is...
I'm right here, and I don't care what I say. I'm in Redding, California, Shasta County, and up here, all the fires just wiped us out. You cannot find a new house under 425. Just look on the internet. No house, new construction. I only live in a 1,450 square foot house, and mine's 330. Those are about the same size, maybe a little smaller. They look fancy and whatnot, but they're going for 4.25 just to start.
That's a lot for us too.
Hey
Mine
guys,
was almost 450 here that were built back in the 70s and 80s in Albuquerque are going for $225,000. It's freaking nuts, man.
Well, I don't blame people for moving. I want to move just so I don't get my PERS retirement, taxed and everything else. And the cost of living here is super expensive as well, even for me. Anyway, sorry.
I am in a state where everybody's coming to right now from New York. I'm in Florida, the land of the free, home of the brave, and where COVID doesn't exist. So, it's serious. I mean, we've just been marching to the beat of our own drum. I mean, we were closed down for 30 days, and then that was it. And I've been back in my classroom for 2 years already. So everybody's buying up the houses from, they're selling their properties in New York for a lot of money. They're coming down here and they're, paying 30 or 40% more for the homes. And we're experiencing this explosive growth like all over the place where they're just destroying everything for new builds and the whole 9 yards. So my thing is that I don't know. I mean, the housing is going to stabilize at some point, right? It can't keep on going up, even though Zillow tells me that my house will be worth at least 22% more in 2022, which to me is absolutely bizarre because I bought it in 2016. And it's, more than $150,000. It's excuse me, priced at more than $150,000 than what I bought it at. So I think that's crazy for it to go up more. But in any case, I don't know that we're going to have the same situation where people will definitely be underwater, but are they going to leave? Are they going to leave their homes, or are they just going to continue to pay and stay? I mean, this is the question that we're all asking lately. Like, so if your, house is worth, you bought it for 500 and now it's worth, 375, do you stay? I mean, I would stay, right? Who would want to take that loss?
Just depends on what you're doing. I mean, if you're smart, and this is not financial advice by any means, and I'm not legal. However, if I was in that situation and I had the credit, I'd go buy a secondary house at the bottom, and then I would claim bankruptcy, keep the secondary house, get rid of the first one, and write off the first house. But Jason, you said you work up in Reading, and a couple of things you said. Do you work for the Forest Service by any chance?
No, I work for the county. I'm in IT.
Okay, cool deal. No, I had some friends up there. That's why that were smoke jumpers when I was in the Forest Service.
Oh, right on. Yeah, it's crazy. Last time on the 2008, when we saw the big, housing bubble, they were literally bulldozing houses, like empty houses. They were literally bulldozing them on the way to Sacramento. I mean, that's just crazy. That blows my mind. And now the same land that we're seeing, I was just talking about, that's where new housing is coming up.
Wow.
I don't know how they do that or why they do it or what, but like Jay Brett had said, my house right now, I mean, I cash offer within 1 week for my house because I got a shortage of houses.
47 offers on my house in Michigan within a day. And I decided to take it back down off the market because I didn't want to even deal with it, with showing it and stuff. I'll just keep my renter, so that's
a nice piece of equity. It'll always go up and down. You know what I mean? That we have a housing cycle. It's about 7 years. We're going to go down to the bottom or up, and then we're going to go back down again, and it's going to go back up, so on and so forth.
There's a new development in our area because I live in Montebello. It's right next to East LA and downtown LA. I'm literally 15 minutes from the center of downtown LA. It's called the Metro Heights, and they're going to do 1,200 building constructions. They're starting off at $850,000 for buying it before they're built. That's the starting price. They go up to like almost $2 million. It's built by Toll Brothers. So when this thing crashes, it's going to be really interesting because I'm hoping with this crash, the squeeze, that I could get myself in at a good price.
Well, I hate that it's unfortunate for other people, but I hope it does it soon so I can get to the bottom of the material cost so I can build my damn house out here. That's all I'm saying.
I'm with you there too. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say right on the back of that is, I feel really bad for people, and I think you should try to save if you can. And with all this free money and whatnot that the government was giving out, I'm doing the same thing. I'm just sitting on it waiting for this thing to bubble, crash and then swoop something else up.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
Let's grab these hands real quick. What's up here?
C-SPAN was first. I'll let him go first.
Okay. What's up, C-SPAN?
Hey, Spence. Thanks for letting me talk. Hi, everyone. But I live out here in the Bay Area, and I actually work for one of the developers out here, a pretty big developer. And I mean, what my company says is like they're in the Bay Area specifically, there's a housing shortage, right? So there's a greater demand than actually exists. And in the Bay Area specifically, there's no more room for single family detached. It's all going vertical. So condominiums, townhomes, just stuff that you can cram in more units per square footage. And a lot of the people that are buying are a lot of people that are coming in from the tech sector. So a lot of tech money, obviously the Bay Area. And then there's a lot of foreign investors that come in with cash on hand, buy cash for the whole house. It's very common for people to just come in and buy $1 million house or $800,000 house and pay cash. But the companies, we're noticing that for single family, they're pushing out into the more rural areas, the valley. And now the valley prices, which are typically cheaper out here in California, now they're going up as well. So I've thought about this quite a while to see what would happen if there is a crash. Would it affect the housing that much? Because a lot of the money is tech money. So tech would have to suffer significantly for them to lose interest in or not have the capital for them to buy or still take advantage of lower housing. So I don't think it matters if the demand will still be there, I think, regardless of what happens. So I think
Well,
people will be gobbling up the houses, um, I, especially in those like high desired areas. Like the Bay Area, it's just everybody wants to live here, especially if you have money. But regular people with regular jobs, they can't afford to stay here, and those are the people that are leaving, right? So it's like the high earners are taking up all the good real estate, and regular folks are having to kind of edge out or have to move out of state. It's
Well,
interesting. I'm not sure how it'll play out though.
well, the first part is what you brought up is the foreign investors paying cash. You know, there was a couple of news articles that was specifically talking about money laundering, and that's how they're able to clean the money. And there was federal cases in my area. It happened a lot. They'll come in, they'll buy the land, and then they sell it at a higher rate so they could wash their cash, and now it's clean in the U.S. market. Two things to think about this. You have Evergrande in China, where a lot of these foreign investors are coming from. Then you also have South Korea, but none of their money is stabilized. The minute that money stabilizes and they have their money over here so they could keep it stable, they're going to have to pull out and sell. The reason why the market is the way it is, as far as raising, it's supply and demand. So BlackRock owns a ton of property they don't sell. They've been renting it out on Airbnb. They make a lot more money, easier to kick a tenant out, and you constantly move it around, and you also get your tax write-offs. Um, they lost a good portion of money in Evergrande. So they're going to have to cover up. Now you have these margin requirements coming up. So you might get some liquidations. I say might because we don't know all of their assets and their funding and all the other stuff. But the minute one of these other economies starts failing, their dollar is going to break. They might have to sell. And that's when you're going to start seeing the liquidation.
yeah. To speak about that a little bit more, Will got pretty close there. BlackRock has a deep balance sheet. I don't think BlackRock's not going to go under. I don't think if BlackRock goes under, the whole thing is dead, like the whole system. Not to say that it's not going to happen, just that if BlackRock goes down, most likely the entire economy, like the entire market, is going to collapse completely. But to speak to that whole foreign investment thing for a while, a couple of things related to the housing situation. I live in Washington State, which is another big tech hub. And when I started to look for a home 5 years ago, I started hearing rumors that part of the reason why we were seeing such inflated housing prices was because of foreign investment. People were coming in and they were buying homes unseen and paying cash for them, and they were doing so just to get the land, in some cases, to demolish and rebuild, and then to try and flip and make a profit. Others are just buying homes and sitting on them or renting them or whatever. But there's massive in both the Washington and California markets. There's a huge shortage because of how much of that supply has been bought up. And so there gets to be bidding wars, which further drives up prices. Since I bought my house in 2016, my house has almost doubled in value according to Redfin, which is who I bought my house through. But an independent analysis of it from my old mortgager through something called HomeBot talks about my home being worth right around $800K. So I paid $447 for mine, and it's almost worth $800K in 5 years. That's massive upswing in price. And then another story that goes along with this is to just show how insanely ridiculous this whole situation is with housing, is that I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, a home in West Seattle that was effectively condemned. You were not allowed to step foot on the property unless you were an inspector, or you were a licensed contractor with hard hats and all sorts of stuff. This place, you could not go in the property and it sold for, I think, $680K, just so that the land could be stripped down and they could rebuild a house on top of it. Like, if that's not the most mind-blowingly insane thing, I really don't know what to say. But then the final piece is that, yes, there's a lot of people in San Francisco and Washington that are there for tech, but a lot of those people are leaving. And the reason why is because of the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, most of the tech companies had to shift their behavior to say, you can work remote, which every last one of them can do. There is no reason why somebody working in the tech sector has to work from the office. The exception to that being if you work in a data center, but a majority of the people in, Silicon Valley and in Seattle and in New York are all working for these big tech companies as software developers or as systems engineers, and they're doing everything remote, so they don't need physical access. As a result, you don't need those houses. In fact, we've tried to hire people to my team specifically, and one of the reasons we haven't been able to hire people is because until recently we still were telling people that they needed to move to Washington in order to work, and they finally lifted that stance not too long ago, shortly after we hired somebody in California to my team, but he was unable to sell his house and move because of family saying no. So we made an exception for him. But more recently, they've changed their tune and said, essentially, fuck it. We need people. We need people who know what they're doing, and we don't care where they're located. And so we've got people, I think, that we hired over on the East Coast for my team that are have just come on or are going to be coming on soon, and they're not moving here, and they won't be. And what we're also seeing is people are leaving California to go to Austin, to Dallas, to New Mexico, to Wisconsin, Michigan, etc., where the housing prices are 50 to 75% cheaper than in these massively supply shocked systems or economies, right? So like there's these problems all over the country where they've got this sight unseen cash on hand, pay, buy it up and walk away, but we also are seeing a massive shift in the workforce into less expensive areas, driving other areas prices up, but at the same time the supply is still being bought up in these places where people are vacating. So the question is, who's buying them up? And the
100%.
answer is BlackRock and Zillow. And I've said this before, I'm going to say it one more time. Zillow is the Countrywide of 2022. Period. All right, I'm done.
Can you explain about the Countrywide, please?
Countrywide was the first of all of the one of the most notable mortgagers that went out of business in 2008.
Thank you.
Like my mom had a loan through them, I believe, for a little while. I think the loan got moved at one point, but I think Countrywide is who she did part of her remodel with, on the sunroom in her house, right? It was an additional add-on to the property that was like originally it was an office, and it got redone and stuff a number of years later. And when they came through, they I believe she got her additional mortgage or loan or whatever through. That's what I think she did, her refi loan through Countrywide. But Countrywide was a big player in mortgages, in mortgage origination. And they were one of the ones that was really bad about doing adjustable rate mortgages. And so when the mortgage crisis hit, they were one of the first things to fall off the cliff and get vaporized.
Yes, sir.
Both Zillow and BlackRock are paying at market or above market, right?
Yep.
Hey guys, Zillow stopped buying homes.
Yeah, they started trying to unload actually.
Yeah, I thought I heard that that they were paying above market, and then it started going south on them, and they abandoned the whole, knocking on people's doors and trying to buy houses.
Yep.
They
If I
did,
heard
and they
right, they also
cited
got.
profitability.
They took some hits for sure.
I think they also had a they failed to deliver on some of the homes.
Just want to do a quick shout out to Eleanor. I see you down in the listener group there. I hope, if it is Eleanor, if it's not Charles Gasparino, but just wanted to recognize you in the room. And what's up, Pierre? You got your hand up.
Oh, wait, I want to
Yeah.
say hi to
Oh,
Eleanor and let her know
Oh,
that I'm super sorry that she has to work with Mr. Gasparino.
okay. I'll start. Just like Jay Barrett was saying, yeah, like a lot of people moved from the Bay Area to like Austin. Like my cousin-in-law, he was also in the tech. Well, I'm in the tech as well. Like I would go visit. He was like paying $1,200 for like what was it, $4,000 a month, like 1,200 square feet, and then he bought a home over here in Austin for like half a mil, and like over 2,000 square feet. So, and I'm currently in the process of like buying a house, and my friend, she bought the same exact model as me, but like for $1,000, no, $100,000 less, and she like bought it like right at the beginning of like COVID. So she got pretty lucky. But I will say is that I, just like PJ was saying, you're seeing a lot of people coming from like the big tech hubs and moving down to like these other, like, starting to be startup tech places in a way. But yeah, I'm just seeing so much building. Like I was driving there on Saturday where my house is being built, and there's already 7 houses on the street, which like a week before that there was like probably like two. So they're expanding a lot, and it's not just that neighborhood. There's so many neighborhoods being built. But I'm just hoping I get in on time. Hopefully everything goes down. But if not, luckily I'm not. I didn't sign any contract saying that I have to buy it once it's built. But I did just put like $1,000 down. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it goes down.
So
Well, good
I
luck,
would be
man.
careful. I would be careful if you put $1,000 down and you signed a contract. You're probably going to be in on that price, which is why I'm not making a move right now. Um, I have a really, really nice community in mind in on the North Carolina shores, on the eastern North Carolina, and it's way more affordable than where I am now. The prices, the home prices are a bit less. Um, my concern is that the builds will take a year. The builder says a year. I say 14 months. What's going to happen in 14 months to my home? I doubt anything, because I'm in an extremely desirable area, and but you never know. You never know what's going to happen with the housing market. So I would proceed with big old caution right now, if you can.
Oh, I am. And in the case where like even the price goes down, like just for the starter without any upgrades or anything, I could lock in that price. So I'm sitting pretty. Anything else, like I can just dip, and like that the $1,000 I put down are just basically lost. So it's, yeah, I'm just hoping for everything. And then going back to, I think what someone said, Jay Burt, maybe, regarding like people really can't afford. Like here in Austin, like I said, the home that my friend bought was like $100,000 less than mine. And it's basically the exact same square feet and like everything. So yeah, and most people here, like my girlfriend's friend, she can't even afford to buy a home now. Like before the pandemic, she was like really close, and then everything just went up. Like over here in Austin, so yeah, even I'm moving to the suburbs. So yeah, it's pretty bad over here in Austin.
Yeah, I was sad to. I love Texas and I loved Austin. Man, I spent a lot of time there in '04 and in '05. I was really sad to see how Austin had developed by 2017. I couldn't believe the amount of homelessness that I saw in downtown Austin. It blew my mind.
Oh yeah, here on Riverside, they like basically they let them have tents for a bit, and then people were like, no, we don't like this and this and that. So like Austin's hiding them, but like you saw like right after COVID that when people lost their jobs, like you would just see tents like in the parks of people just being homeless, just putting tents up and just living in there.
Compared to what I've seen in LA, and as somebody who's in Austin, we don't have to hold a candle to what's going on elsewhere.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. It's, every major inner city has their problems with homelessness for sure. Albuquerque's got theirs, right? But as soon as you go out to the rest of the state of Texas, when it's spread out a little further, it disappears. It's just wild.
Well, Texas is very anti-homeless, and they will do things to either hide the problem, or they will actively work to get rid of them. But the thing is that like most of those governments, the local governments, they don't have they have programs specifically designed to where like essentially it discourages people from being in the area and being homeless, as opposed to places like Seattle and San Francisco, which have very, very bad homeless problems.
Well, you say that, but it's more Texas is less tolerant of homeless people than Austin per se. Austin, we got Democratic. Yeah, we got Democratic mayor. We've got a whole lot of it. I mean, Austin has voted Democrat in the last 5 presidential elections.
I think it's more than that.
I was just pulling a number out of my ass to start.
No, Austin has been traditionally the most liberal city in the state of Texas if you look at all the major cities. So if you're comparing them politically, Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio I think is more leaning towards liberal at this point, but Dallas and Houston particularly tend to be right in the middle. They tend to be about 50-50 split in terms of the political spectrum. It'll definitely split one way or the other, right? It'll go 51 or 52 or maybe upwards of 59 sometimes. But it really won't pass that 60-40 mark too often in those markets, just because there's such a mix of people. The difference is Austin keeps it weird, and Austin also kind of sort of tries to copy Portland, but Portland tries to copy them, and and then there's Seattle in there with them too, that are all trying to be weird, and they're also trying to be very progressive, right, in their mindset towards their politically how they treat people. So
yeah, Austin's been kind of a hippie hangout for a long time.
Exactly.
But a lot of it has to do with UT, and that's part of what sold me on moving down here. I'm originally from Chicago, is that I was told just about this city and how music and artistic it is, and how there's people from all over, and it's one of the cities in Texas that has a way younger crowd than a lot of the rest of the state. Hey, on a side note, Paul, I love your new profile pic, Paul. Wanted to say that.
Yeah, thanks, Deke. Appreciate it, man. You mind if I just jump in for a couple minutes here?
Well, first I got to say I also like Eleanor's profile pic. I had to say that.
I wanted to ask Eleanor if she'd like to come up and talk about what Liz Klotman tweeted out today about margin calls and that. Not all of us get Fox Business, and I'd like a little recap if that's possible. Something like that would be great. And the other. Yeah, I would appreciate it, Eleanor. If you don't want questions, that's fine, but a recap's good. And our friend, our friend Winter posted something, and I put it up top. She says, "What is the SecGov up to? Why would you tweet this?" And it was from the SEC Chicago, and it's written out that the SEC can suspend trading in a security. And I did a quick browse through it. I think it's more along the lines if the company has committed fraud or something, they can suspend trading up to 10 days. And we all know what the DOJ has been doing a lot of stuff out there. So I don't know if you guys want to go through that at some point and maybe hash it out and tweet what you think it is. That'd be great. I appreciate that.
So I So last year, the SEC stopped trading in I forget what the name of the stock was, and it stopped trading. It suspended trading for 2 or 3 days because
I
the
think it's
actual
more along the
company
lines if the company has
filed
committed
um,
fraud or
the
something, they can
13F
suspend
the wrong
trading up to
way,
10
or
days.
one of their 13Fs the wrong way, and so they stopped trading. But when that was all done and figured out, they resumed trading, and nothing was really horrific with the stock. So they can and they do stop trading, but they only do it for things that happen within the company. They will never, to the best of my knowledge, they will never stop trading because of outside activity. Okay, because if they just said, you know what, we're going to stop trading in this security because a million hedge funds have crowded this short and the volatility is through the roof, we're going to stop trading. I mean, they'll halt it for the volatility, but they won't ever stop it because of outside forces. If anybody wants to add to that, that'll be cool.
Well, I was hoping we were bringing up Eleanor to
I
get the
mean,
official.
my only I guess statement to that is they also never had taken the buy button away before last January. So
Yep.
I mean, if something like that happens, that makes me think that who knows what they'd be willing to do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
And
just
mean,
funny
anything is
that this is all
possible. I
happening
suppose you're
4
right.
days before January 28th.
Just
Yep.
because something's unprecedented doesn't mean it won't be precedented.
I know if they try to pull that crap again here in the next few weeks, because it's looking like we're lining up for something big. If they try to pull that crap again in the next few weeks and manipulate the markets to where retail cannot win, it is going to be a shitstorm. And I'm not
I
talking
think,
an internet shitstorm. It's going to be people walking into buildings looking for their money.
yeah, I would say most likely what would end up happening is that at the very least, pretty much everybody who's currently a sitting Congress member or senator is likely to have their ass on the line there and have to justify keeping themselves in power because like as I've said before when I was looking into it, and I haven't yet compiled the full list. There were over 40 senators and people in the House of Representatives that were in office in 2008 who have had literally over a decade to fix these problems, and they have not fixed them. And every last one of them, if they cannot fix this problem, if they cannot fix another market crash and that happens, every last one of those 40 people should all be kicked out of office. Every last one of them. And there's no excuse for that.
Absolutely.
Guys, I encourage you to do a quick Google search on hedge fund manipulation, or I forget what word I used, but I mean, there are articles going back to forever, prior to 2008, and they all read the same, and the culprits are all the same, and the mechanisms that they use are all the same. The things that they're fined for are all the same that we're experiencing today, and it's disgusting. And that's why I think that the Securities and Exchange Commission is committing financial treason by completely ignoring these factors that play into the robbing of retail and Americans.
Oh, man, this is wild.
One of the
Ugh.
funniest things, and I don't know if anybody else has known this or noticed this, that as Billions returned to air last night, which I'm thrilled of, even though I'm a little skeptical without Axe, I gotta say, a little skeptical, but still happy. But what humors me about that show is that one of the biggest proponents for Citadel and Kenny is Mr. Sorkin himself, who helped create Billions. When you know that somebody who's in the business is using and drawing from reality to create a fiction, right? And so here we have these hedge funds poisoning water to make somebody go out of business, but yet he's on TV telling everyone how there's no such thing as short selling and there's no kind of fuckery with any of the hedge funds.
Did you watch it last night, Deke, where
Absolutely.
they did that guy did a compliance report, and he said, here are all the dirty trades,
Oh
and
yeah,
they wanted to
totally.
just give something to the SEC. I mean, I know that it's fiction, but is it really fiction? Like, it's
No.
based in truth, and it's like right in your face, and that's what angers me, and that should anger everybody.
What's up, Shay? How you doing?
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. I know it's been a while since I've spoke on this call. I just want to.
Hi, Shay. Hi, Shay.
I was wondering. I know I kind of missed the early version of this conversation, but did anyone bring up the new SEC? Well, it's not new. The SEC proposal about share lending transparency to kind of counteract some of the stuff that PJ was just now talking about. I think I find it strange. You'll have a rule on naked short selling, but no way of actually investigating it. And this rule proposal, I wish I can pin it. I found this proposal came out November 18th. And it's basically requiring that people who lend out shares say who they lent it from, where's the share at where they're able to locate it, stuff like that. It's very detailed. And so this information would be shared to everybody, and the SEC would have that information to be able to pretty much size up if people are lending out shares that shouldn't be lent out because there aren't any shares available, etc.
So let me tinfoil hat that before other people give you facts. But FINRA, the SEC, all these supposed places that are supposed to be enforcing and working on the side of retail and investors never do anything for investors. They make rules that seem like they're trying to do something, but then don't give them any teeth because they don't want to do anything. They make fines that don't even put a dent in what these places are doing for the kind of crimes that they're committing, allowing them to continue to do those things unfettered, because if you're making billions of dollars and you have to pay $1 million, who gives a fuck? So I totally hear you. I'll let somebody else who maybe knows more about it say something, but FINRA is a self-regulating body. What they do is put rules in place to hurt the little guy, like PDT. All this payment for order flow, all the things that they stand for are what retail investors are against. But they wave the flag so that other people feel like they're being protected, and it's an illusion.
So I just pinned to the top of the call the short sellers, the association, the hedge funds association, as a group is against, surprise, surprise, that rule because they fear that it will cause a GME type squeeze every time. To which I say, too bad. Then control yourselves. Nobody's gonna, go long in, go gang long in a sense if you're not gang short, right?
But here's the tinfoil hat counter to that, right? Is that, in my opinion, they're all in cahoots, and that whole public spat is so that when that rule that really doesn't do anything goes through, it looks like they did something against the hedge funds. So I think it's coordinated on both sides. That's just me.
But I also feel like with this rule, the transparency is to everybody. So, I mean, if a lawsuit may be, like, if we all could look into it with all of our eyes and size up investigate it ourselves, pull in the numbers, pull in who has what to who, then we should be able to pull a lawsuit with even more concrete evidence that supports naked short selling.
On the
well, that leads us to share intel, which They are doing some apes got together. They sent David Wegner a bunch of questions as to how it would happen, how it goes down. What do you guys do? How do we get this ball rolling? And they're going to do a Twitter. Excuse me. They're going to do a. They're going to answer the questions and upload them to YouTube so everybody can see how it would work. And so, with it, by investigating the tape, by investigating the shares, by doing that kind of deep dive, uh, and attempting to get a reconciled share count, it'll happen and it'll work, and they'll know exactly who's short what, who doesn't have locates. They'll know everything. We just have to make that happen. And I think just the threat of that happening and moving forward would cause funds to begin to cover, because who wants to get caught out there? Who wants to get caught red-handed? None of them do.
Does anyone know the status of that ruling? I know it was proposed back in November 18th, and I know it's up for commenting until January 7th, but I don't know the status of that particular proposal right now. I can't find anything else on it.
I thought that was one of the ones. Yeah, I think PJ was about to say it. So
Sorry, go ahead. You go, Jay Brett.
Oh, I think so. There's a number of different events going on in the macroeconomic space this week. And I believe one of those is an SEC meeting that may actually be talking specifically about that. But there's a number of meetings going on this week, particularly like one of the other ones that people are watching are like the FOMC meeting, because that's going to determine, the tone of the Fed and whether or not the QE is going to stop more abruptly, or they're going to keep doing it, or, is there going to be an interest rate hike? How many are there going to be? Those are the big questions on people's minds from a macroeconomic standpoint. So what all the funds and institutions and, media is covering right now is what's going to go on in the broader economy. And that's going to change their tone on how they make their investments or how they get out of investments. So like, yeah, this SEC rule could be something important, but just remember that market makers have an exemption to naked short shares up to 40% to provide liquidity as a function of them being a market maker. So like the sheer fact that they have that exemption on something that was like outright stated as being naked shorting is illegal and, thou shalt not do it. If there's an exemption to a rule like that, then there's very likely going to end up being exemptions to that reporting rule. And I think there was somebody who had already filed for an exemption, like as soon as it was proposed or whatever. So like, I don't hold a lot of weight in that sort of reporting going through. If it does, great. If it scares them, great. But I think, I think Mark has talked about this before, and that is, and this is, he talked about it a lot in the interview he did with Matt Kors that I watched recently on YouTube back in October. And it's that I think by and large, like, are these hedge funds, they're short, do they have the best intentions? No. But I think that like in the large case, most of them are not doing anything illegal and they're actually being victimized as much as we are. But what's really going on is the prime brokers and the market makers are abusing the powers that they have to make extra money. And because things normally operate in in what appears to be a working fashion, nobody cares to do anything about it. People keep it under the radar because they make money off of it. So why not, right? And at the end of the day, I think there is definitely some sort of nefarious subplot, you could say, with with like naked shorting and the particular or not necessarily naked shorting, but with abusing the things that they are allowed to do in the market to make more sums of money, because that's all they care about is making money. And if they have a legal loophole to do so, they're going to do it. And I think what happens is when they can throw somebody else to the wolves, they're going to do it. And that's what happened to a lot of hedge funds in 08 and 09 they got put out of business because, places like Goldman Sachs and Citadels of the country were, turning it around on those funds and putting them in just as helpless of a spot as retail. So that's my take on it. That's where I feel it is. I hope that something good will come out of the visibility. I'm interested to see what happens with it this week, but I'm also not holding my breath.
Gotcha.
And don't forget, there's a closed meeting on the 26th, which typically always ends up in some arrest, right? I mean, I think the last couple of closed meetings ended up with charges being brought against someone. So crossing my fingers, kind of, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that would be great. I would love to see somebody get arrested for something that was definitely bad and wrong. That would at least make me a little bit more confident that the SEC actually is, making some forward progress. I don't know, just the fact that the SEC is a revolving door into places like Goldman and Citadel, it to me doesn't instill a lot of confidence in the SEC.
But we've never had a DOJ investigation. I mean,
yeah, that was a new one, and I liked
yeah.
that. That was the DOJ getting involved but that's the DOJ and not the SEC. So maybe
True.
the DOJ is gonna basically say, "Look, SEC, you haven't been doing your fucking job. We're gonna do your job for you, and at the end of this, we're gonna have a very long talk or something." I don't know. But yeah, it's the DOJ at least gives me a little bit more hope, but I don't know. I feel like our entire justice system is incredibly messed up. But that's another conversation and another space call and another time.
I'd like to jump in for a second. I posted up top the video with Mark and Matt Kors. So anybody who hasn't seen it, it's really worth watching. Explains a lot.
Yes, it is.
It does. It's amazing. And if you want to know where, if you follow Mark and you want to know where 109% came from, that's where it came from.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I work for the health department, and I understand legally when trying to enforce things, you are held to the letter of the law, and loopholes exist, and things can get a little murky with trying to regulate stuff like that. But, I guess I'm a little hopeful still. The SEC is working on stuff, and that this new proposal would hopefully go through. But my question is, does tinfoil hat time, like what happens if they find out, market makers are over 200%, naked short selling and going over what they were supposed to do, then like what happens then? Like, I'm curious what type of repercussions the new proposal will have,
Yeah,
I don't think
that's a
they'll have.
great question.
Do you think they'll have any, Jay Brett? I don't. I think if they uncovered a stock, a security that was over 200% naked shorted, and found another one and another one, because we know there's just not one, they would hide that the way
Yeah.
they would hide. I mean, that would be such a shattering episode to happen for us. I mean, for the American people,
Well,
having this trust in our
money
government.
out of the funds.
Say that again.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel
So
what
that's
People would
it's.
withdraw.
I think it's really tough to say. Like honestly, as I think about it here, if I'm sitting in their spot in government, I don't like any of the options. Like because granted, I'm fairly altruistic, and I have ideals of what I believe government should be. So like if I were to run things, I would run them different than most of the people that are at that level of bureaucracy doing things, because they have different motivations than I would. Anyway, if I'm sitting there trying to figure out how to unfuck the whole situation, right? It's 200% naked short. The only thing I can think of that I would find remotely equitable is to be able to, like, first of all, the markets would just halt, all of them. There would be no trading. The second thing that would happen would be that that fund or whoever was at the source of responsibility for that, they're done. They're out of business, closed down. That would be the next thing I would do. The third thing that I think I would do is then I would have to figure out a process of litigation that or settlement or agreement as to what would be fair and equitable to those people who were double screwed, you know. And at that point, I don't really know the answer to what you do to fix that part, because, you know, there are plenty of people who, you know, did this as a all-in play, and they put their entire portfolio into, you know, one of the so-called meme stocks. I don't like calling them meme stocks. I do it just because that's the label other people have given it. But with GameStop and AMC and the rest of the heavily shorted stocks that are, you know, purported to potentially have a lot of, you know, synthetic or naked shares, the you know, at the end of the day, people are putting life savings into this and thinking that this is going to some astronomical level. So they would think that, well, I'm entitled to, you know, $1 million per share for all of my shares. And, you know, other people may want to have whatever value as well. But you have, like, the thing to realize is that the DTCC only has so many assets and so much, like, cash on hand. And the, you know, and the hedge funds, they only have so much money and cash on hand and assets, and the banks only have so much. And the insurance for the DTCC is something like, I think it's $76 trillion, $67 trillion is what the insurance is supposed to be for the DTCC per my last dive into that data. You know, if that is the case, if you were to combine at $1 million a share, every one of AMC's shares at 513 million, I believe that if it was that 513, no, 51, it's like 5 trillion or $51 trillion. I have to do the math again. But it's a very large number of that amount. And then if you add in GameStop's, you have that same ballooning problem. And so, you know, GameStop has a much smaller float at 75 million, but still 75 million times a million is it's 12 zeros. So I mean,
it's a lot.
It's fucking huge. And so you add those two together, and that, like, more than overruns the DTC's, like, insurance. And one of the other problems in 2008 was insurance from, like, AIG. AIG collapsed and had to be bailed out by the government. And so, like, you then have to think, okay, who's insuring the DTCC? Like, it's got to be AIG or one of these other big insurance companies. And when they fail, it's going to fall onto the government. So, like, in the worst case scenario, this falls all the way up to the government, which then means it falls on the taxpayers. So it ends up screwing us all over again. So how do you come to some sort of a fair agreement, right? And I think that's where you have to enter into some sort of arbitration and discussion and potentially a vote. You know, I don't know how much it has to go through, but I would say that there has to be some level of broad agreement across the people who were fucked over and the government as to what the settlement was going to be, either to be able to save the DTCC or to be able to save the taxpayers a big fucking bill. So I think those three things are really the only possible solutions out there that doesn't fuck everybody over or doesn't fuck one side or the other really bad. And I don't think any of our leaders, I don't have the confidence that our leaders have the answers to those problems. Like, I've given answers to 2 of those 3 problems. But I don't think they would ever, if they do know it, I don't think they would ever admit it. And second, if like, it's most likely that they don't realize that's the answer, or that they're too selfish. And then they're never going to come out about that. So like, they're going to try and push it away and make it not a big deal. So like, the way it gets fixed is us fixing the politicians and holding them responsible to say, this shit needs to be fixed. I don't care what you have to do. I don't care whose foot you have to put up their ass in the SEC or the FTCC, or the DTC or the Fed or all of them, but foots will go into asses and people will get fixed and replaced. Otherwise,
that's why I feel like this
they get
transparency rule is like very more important than people think. Like, I feel like this is how at least that mechanism of naked short selling gets fixed, because like, I mean, we know about T0 and, all this other stuff, but as far as having evidence that, that would hold up to show that there's this going on. Like I said, why I hate that they made a rule, SEC made a rule for naked short selling and an exemption, like you said. But they didn't have any mechanisms to investigate it. This is now a system. This transparency policy would legitimately be a system that you could look at the paperwork and follow the money trail and be able to actually investigate it. Before it was,
I agree.
Right now, it's just madness. It's just anybody does what they want in the dark.
Yep, and that's why I think ultimately the only solution to all of these problems, after you go through and you do the damage control, the long-term solution is a blockchain solution. And I don't care if that's an open source blockchain. Like, there are people out there that are purists about cryptocurrency and blockchain. You go on for hours about the insanity, about why one stupid fact or another. But at the end of the day, you solve this by having not necessarily an open source and decentralized blockchain, but that you have a publicly accessible blockchain, because that gives you an audit trail of the data of everything. And that way, if somebody's short, everybody knows that person's short. If somebody's long, everybody knows that that person is long. Assuming that you have identity attached to the address, right? But the point is, everybody sees everything, and it's a fair playing ground. And until you get to that, you don't really fix the true problems in that system.
Yeah, totally agree.
I do not want to run for office, by the way. I'm putting that out there right now.
Let's we dropped somebody there. Hey, what's up, Jonathan? We'll get this hand. I have got to go after this, unfortunately. I've got to take the dog out and go do things. So
I should be honored that I'm the last to speak.
Yeah.
So I just jumped on, guys, and I'm sorry. I was just shooting through Twitter, and I don't know if you guys have discussed it. You probably have. That I saw that there was like a tweet out from the SEC in Chicago. Did you guys already talk about that?
Somebody brought it up a little while ago, but that is a very Adam Aaron just tweeted too. The Chicago tweet.
Yeah, we pinned it.
Oh, I must have missed it.
No, it's okay.
The Chicago tweet's a bit concerning considering how close we are to January 28th.
Well, and also what else is in Chicago that we know about? And I think
Citadel.
that's kind of right. That's kind of strange too. But yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of crazy. The more we dive into this thing, I apologize. I don't know the last gentleman who spoke's name, but I mean, at this point, don't you guys kind of all feel like they don't want the market to be up to date? They don't want, because then that ruins all their competitive advantages over us. It's like using steroids in football or something, right? So
they have all the tech and all the algos.
Yeah.
And they've given us this breadcrumb, which is, trading on phone apps. So
And what happens when you take that whole thing away is the Citadel, in my humble opinion, now Ken Griffin or Kathy Wood or whoever it may be, now they don't look so very bright because now they don't have all that they don't have all that information that they're able to use against us now, you know?
Their advantage is gone, and they have to
Gone.
play by the rules, which will put them out of business.
Yeah, completely gone. So I don't know. I mean, listen, guys, I'm still positive about stuff. I don't think the SEC wouldn't have put. I have a hard time believing at this point with all that's gone on that the SEC would try to do one more thing and pull the purse strings and screw us out. Because if they did do that, you know, our entire market is based on trust. I mean, at the end of the day, that's all. I brought up this analogy when I go to Chipotle and I'm buying my food and I either give them cash or my credit card. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, that's all about trust, right? They're taking money and saying, well, it's worth this to buy the chicken burrito. And I'm saying, okay, here's the money for it. But if they did something like this, and if again, I'm hoping that that's not what they're considering or talking about. But if they screw up again, if they take the buy button away or the sell button away, or they try any stuff underhanded, I mean, at that point, they're going to risk retail just pulling out of the markets entirely. At that point, we should all go buy real estate or whatever the other, you know, mechanism is and get out of the markets completely because at that point we can't trust anything that's being done, you know?
I'll just buy classic cars.
Yeah, fine.
Yep.
Literally.
And
Watches. It
And
doesn't matter.
samurai swords.
Jonathan,
I mean-
you are spot on, buddy. Spot on. 109%. And I think it's worth you know, adding that, like, these, you know, they want to stay relevant is so key, and the fact that they would go out of business like that, it really is such a big deal as to why this goes on.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's coming to a head because to me, and just seeing this from the outside 1,000-foot view, us quote unquote regular people, the regular citizens, we're tired of politicians and their bullshit. We're tired of, you know, Senate and Congress people not having the same rules and regulations that we have. We're tired of watching people tell us to wear masks and then not wear them. We're tired of the rich people, you know, not paying $0 in taxes while we're working hard and trying to do what we can to provide for our families. And I mean, listen, it's winter time. People aren't going to run up to Washington now and march and protest, or New York or Chicago. But I honestly think that if everything's not settled up by springtime, that you're going to see the ape community and some other people who may, you know, come in here, you know, want to start doing some stuff like that and showing them how many people we are and voicing our true displeasure with everything that's going on. It can only go on so far. And the last thing I wanted to say is that my friends are all, you know, they all bash me all the time. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Look at AMC. It's 72-16, blah, 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 blah. But my argument to them is, so you're just accepting of it. Oh, that's the way it is. Oh, that's the way that, you know, our president is. That's the way our Congress people are. That's the way that the stock market is. You're never going to win. You're never going to buck the system. And I'm like, but if you're just accepting of that, then you're not like holding up your end of life and your end of the bargain. The whole object of this is to make things better for future generations, for our kids, for you know, other people who haven't had a chance or don't have the same opportunities as some other people. I'm not talking about, you know, income distribution and all that stuff. The rich are still going to be rich, but we're just talking about let's have a fair game here. That's all we're talking about. And that's all I wanted to say, guys.
No, 100%. And
if it was a fair playing
I love
field,
that you said that, John. I
If
love
it-
that you said that, because if we
Thank
all just if we never try to buck the system, we would still be under British rule.
Correct. You know, correct. And somebody's got to somebody's got to fight the good fight for us, you know. And to me, I brought this up earlier. I
think we're losing you,
buddy.
Jonathan.
And actually, you know, hold the power, you know.
You cut out there for a bit, Jonathan. We only caught the tail end of that.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying that I think that the power is with us, not with the YouTubers. You know, the YouTubers forgot, in my humble opinion, how their bread was buttered. And they forget that while they're collecting their royalty checks every week or month from YouTube and all the other stuff that they're selling. But I just think that this group of people is a very strong group. Doesn't matter the amount of people who are in the room at a time. And I think that we just need to start like going together and voicing our message together, not having, 100 different messages every day about everything that's going on, and focusing, having a laser focus on what we're trying to get accomplished and how we're going to go about doing that. But that's all, guys. Thank you very much. And everybody keep doing your thing.
Right on.
Yep.
Yeah. And part of the reason why I went on my rant a little while ago is because it's very likely that, this data is being collected by some three-letter agency, or it's being, collected and read by, potentially the SEC, through whatever means that they're acquiring it, right? Because I could go into a whole thing about the NSA and how that, like, all data is copied off into their own, offsite stuff, cold storage, blah blah. But anyway, like, the thing is that there is either somebody listening, probably, or somebody who will get, the YouTube recording and will probably go in through and listen to this stuff. So, like, when I was talking about those things earlier about how to solve that problem, maybe, hopefully, somebody listens and if not use the exact ideas and take the credit for it, that's fine. I don't give a shit. Like, if they even got 2/3 of that and then figured a different solution out for the third, like, as long as they're putting an effort into it, I think that would be good. But, like, again, that's why I get up there and I say what I say to criticize, because likely somebody's taking notes somewhere. Maybe it's a reporter. Maybe they say, wow, this one random person on this Twitter Spaces call had these 3 great points of how to solve this complete market melt everywhere situation.
Oh, they're listening. They're totally listening.
Yeah. And so that's why it's great to come up and have those things, and to also say, like, we're not going to put up with it anymore, and that we'd yank our money out. Like, I'm already halfway out the door. I'm 50% in the crypto market. And that's where, and until if they don't fix these problems, I'll be 100% in the crypto market. There will be no money in this market anymore. And, they get a lot of money from me in taxes. I pay a lot of taxes. So, that they're going to see a lot of that income dry up is all I'm saying.
Absolutely. And to hit on the topic of the rumors of social media shutdowns and whatnot from BlackRock, just so everybody knows, I pinned the YouTube channel up to the top. The chances of them actually shutting just this YouTube channel down is probably pretty slim. So if Twitter does go under some kind of blackout or something, that's one option, to go to the YouTube channel, and I will do a live feed during the day that anybody can come and drop comments on. And I also have an account on Getter, but I don't really use it that much. That platform's a little more politically oriented. But True Social is supposed to launch, I think, in February. I will be moving to that. On that, I want to thank everybody for coming up. Man, today was such an informative, good call. I'll tell you right now, the content that comes up on the calls when we have a smaller audience seems to always be better. So don't ever associate a smaller call audience with what's being said. I just want to thank everybody who came up and talked, everybody who came to listen. Make sure to check out the YouTube. Follow your co-hosts. They rock. Follow Tara's new profile since she got blocked again. And I've confirmed that is her profile. And, man, good luck, everybody, in the morning. I'm pretty excited to see what happens. And we'll definitely probably have another call Wednesday. So
I don't know. I mean, if things are really exciting tomorrow, we could have another call.
Yeah, if it gets hot like today, it got a little warm, and if something crazy happens tomorrow, just message me, and I might not necessarily talk, which whatever, I don't say anything anyways, but I'll pop it all up and we'll record it and have it on the tube for people to listen. So
yeah, I'm gonna try and actually snowboard once this season. So
yeah.
I'm trying to go tomorrow to do that.
I can't bring myself to try snowboarding because I've always been a skier, and I'm just not prepared to fall on my ass all day and waste like the money that I would have having a fun day.
Well, so I started out skateboarding when I was like 8 with this like old Ninja Turtles fishtail skateboard that I had.
I used to have
And
one of those.
I was not good by any means at this point in time. I would never say I was good, but there were times where I was decent. uh, but I started it all that time ago, and then a few years later, I did snowboarding because it was the natural choice for me, given that I had a background with the skateboard prior. So it was a very easy transition, and I never tried skiing prior. So I was excited about snowboarding, so I just started into it, and I actually like snowboarding better than skateboarding.
Well, good luck,
I'm gonna have
man.
to try it.
Don't break yourself out there.
Just go have
Yeah,
some
I'll
fun.
try not to.
We don't have
Fun.
any snow here. I'm not even gonna waste my time going to the hill. It is so dry in Albuquerque, dude. It's crazy.
And we had some snow. I had like 6 or 8 inches of snow at my house at like the beginning of the year. Probably about 6 inches is about right. And so like everything in my neighborhood was pretty much shut down for like 2 weeks because like we don't get any plows or salt or anything like that in our neighborhood. So like you have to like dig your own way out, and people just have been staying at home when that happens. So like we've gotten some snow, but I don't know how much is remaining on the mountains. I haven't checked. But we had some back at the end of last year, early part of this year.
Cool.
I think it started snowing the day after Christmas. That's what it was.
Hey, if you guys want snow, we got a lot of snow here in Michigan. I'm just saying. Please.
Just a quick update. Unusual Whales posted, given that the hedge funds are monitoring social forums like Twitter and Reddit at huge fees to combat retail, I decided to make my own social tracking completely free. And he gives a link. I love this guy. I love Mr. Wow.
That sounds awesome.
That's great. I'm gonna go check that out. Thanks for bringing that up, PJ. My dog is staring at me like the world is gonna end.
Yeah, and my dog is doing the twirl.
Your dog's
the
onto
twirl.
something, Spence.
He's on to about dropping a big load on my floor, so I'm gonna.
Oh God.
Oh man.
Yo, guys, I'm about to
thank
sign
you
off.
so much, and I will see you tomorrow.
All right,
I'm about
guys.
to sign
Sounds
off as
good.
well,
AMC to
but-
the moon.
Oh,
Got
yeah,
this.
never mind. Peace. Good shit. Catch you guys tomorrow.
Thanks for coming, man. Well, right on, brother.
Yep.